Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKEL Div 2. Joined here for game 1 of Emrys against D4G. We do have Yoon the Goon himself for Team Spawn Peak, who will not be playing today, but will be playing on Thursday. So hopefully they will have someone to be able to watch that. I'm unavailable. Bit of a chud move.
Very lovely to be here with you, Mr. Tinser.
My client is not working. Okay. Right. So coming into this now, what I need to do, this is what I need to do. I need to do that. And then do that. There we go. So coming into the draft, we're seeing a lot of things that we did see before. So we are seeing Ash Seraphine make an appearance once again. Sion will be the B3 here for Emrys. Now, looking at these teams, Emrys did have a very, very big rebuild. Obviously, Ots is the sort of main point of that, replacing Sky in the mid lane. As a mid lane at Yoon, obviously, I know that you do have a fondness for Ots. I know that you have actually played against each other. I believe, was it recently that you played against each other? In the monthly cup?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But it was actually -1 that he played against. I have played against him before though, but
Yeah.
it was a few months ago. I'm not sure if he'll remember.
Well,
I do think he's a really good pickup though. I don't remember too much about Sky to be honest, but Ott seems to be quite the pickup for the side of Emrys.
yeah. And of course, your hometown heroes, Diamond 4 Gamers. Same roster as they had. Same roster they had in their open qualifiers, so not all too much difference there. However, let's talk about this mid-jungle duo. They've brought them in for the open qualifiers. Obviously, Lei Feng has remained with this team, I think, since the dawn of time. I think he might be older than the universe himself at this rate, but still with the team. I'm just going to pull up the rest names for you. My client still isn't open. I don't know why.
I can tell you off the top of my head, every single D4G player, past and present, the main core lineup of Lei Feng top, Hazard jungle, Cassandra mid, and Shy support have been together for eons now. Since time immemorial.
Well. What is going on with League of Legends? Well, the draft's carrying on. That's an Alawi pick. Okay, I look back and there's an Alawi on my screen. That is quite interesting indeed.
I quite like it. I think that Lei Feng is someone who has played Alawi whilst on my team many times, including the Stomp game over Rise a few splits ago. Really likes it into the quite low range comp that Emrys have, assuming that this will be on hit Varus. Obviously, it could be lethality, but I see on hit a lot more often.
The on hit has definitely become more popular in recency. We did see KC pick it up in that LEC Game 5 finals yesterday. No spoilers. Rumble will be the pick that. Sorry, there's a Kha'Zix on my screen. Is that Rumble mid? Is that Rumble mid? Or is it Kha'Zix mid? Wait, what? Was it Sion mid?
Oh, it could be Sion mid. I think there's quite a few variations you can do with this lineup.
I don't hate it. I very much do not hate it.
Time to see what Cassandra will end up picking last pick here. I think you have quite a few options. I don't mind the Cassiopeia here. Is it open? Rise, similar sort of damage profile, similar low range, very high damage, very high DPS champion.
Apologies for delays. Apparently my League of Legends is not starting. The right client is there. I'm clicking play. This is the biggest. Okay, I need to. Don't tell me I need to like fully restart everything because I'm not.
I don't think you will. What you could do is if you go to Task Manager, search right client, exit it, and just restart your right client completely. You don't need to exit Vanguard to do this. You can just restart your
Oh, the day that I exit Vanguard is the day that I think I might blow up. Because...
Yep. But kernelling your computer is just going to send you to the Summoner's Rift.
So it's popping up that League of Legends is opening, and then it just doesn't. Is it opened up behind? No, it's no. Just so that Yoon is able to understand what is happening, I'm going to share my screen. This is what I'm looking at currently.
Let me get my Discord up.
Oh.
I see. I see.
What is happening?
Have you tried doing the task manager restart?
Yeah. That was after trying to... Ladies and gentlemen, League of Legends, owned by Riot Games, the billion-dollar company, 5.6 billion.
I guess just keep giving it a go, and if it doesn't work,
I've let the
could
admin...
I can get in the lobby.
Okay, hang on.
Is it working?
Yes.
Worst to worst, I can get in the lobby. But that's okay. Okay, cool. Your brother Ots is playing. It's very sweet. It's nice of you to support your brother. Is this brother as in actual relative, or is this brother as in that's my homie right there, that's my guy right there? I like the new camera angle as well, Tensor. Looks very clean.
I'm in my new house, so the curtain is gone. The curtain is done. There is no more curtain trying to consume me.
No more curtain.
No more curtain. We have annihilated the curtain. It's gone. It's gone. All right. I'm not dealing with it anymore. Why have you? Okay, and it looks like actually. Oh, okay. You join.
Yeah, you should share your client so I can see it.
Oh wait, yeah. That's a very good idea. That's a very, very good idea.
I'm casting blind. I'm guessing the ganking top.
Okay. Oh, what a play! I can.
You wouldn't think that we've done this tens of times.
Well, I usually do this with more time to prepare. I usually have time. We are getting confirmation. It is Alawi in the mid lane. So that is a Rise top. So that Rise top is probably in response to the Rumble coming out. So I think you are right. I think this is Scion mid. And then obviously
I think the Scion mid is really good. Even though it got a slight nerf with the recall change, I still think it's very powerful. So I'm not surprised to see it.
I will attempt to try and get Blue Ball started up. If not, we'll just have to use the in-game spectator tool. I know it sucks, it's bad, but
I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm not. I don't like it.
Once you've tasted the better quality.
Well, okay, it's not that. It's that I have to limit the minimap size. Otherwise, the objective timers, which we all love, are covered up. The objective timers don't scale with the rest of the spectator, like, interface.
That is true. Cacao, hello my friend. My lovely jungler is in the chat. I hope that they've got spectator delay on. I really do.
If not, what we'll have to do is we will have to put on a stream delay, which will cause problems. But
that's okay.
It is what it is.
If we let them know fast enough, there's always a world where they will actually just restart.
All I'm doing currently is just adding D4G and Emrys. Is
Okay, it looks like there is spectator delay. That's a relief.
Excellent.
It would be quite the ordeal to have to get them all to restart, and I would feel quite bad about doing it.
I would too.
Who's this random jungler? He asks. Well, Hazard for D4G, and on side of Emrys, I believe it's Asuka or Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
How do you pronounce it? Ahsoka. There we go.
Yes. So just to give a rundown of the players on both the teams. So for Emrys, because they are on the left side, they are on the blue side. It is Counter in the top lane, Ahsoka in the jungle, Ott, the newest addition in the mid lane, Ali, and then it is, I believe, so it's Absolutin, but his name is Na'Idwin. So I'll probably be referring to Na'Idwin, but just know that the support for Emrys, the Nautilus, his actual alias is Absolutin. Now, for the Diamond 4 gamers, top lane, Lei Feng, who, can I just say, has the best tag ever. I'm not going to say it, but he has the best tag ever. Hazard in the jungle, Cassandra in mid lane, whose in-game name is Restless Gambler, which is a crazy name. Cortisol and Shy. I'm just looking at Cortisol's in-game name, and I'm going to try and stick to Cortisol.
I believe it's Wake Up Beijing.
No, it's Was Up Beijing.
Oh,
Was Up Beijing. Changed it. And then Shy.
When's this starting? It'll be starting in 1.5 minutes. We're just waiting for the spectator delay.
Yes.
That's all.
So now that I've got all my production, I'm not going to bother with the bottle because it didn't work last time, and I don't care if it doesn't work this time. But Yoon, Div 2's back.
It is, and it feels like it's been quite a while actually. A lot has changed, a lot of roster moves, a lot of new faces that are kind of old faces.
All I'm gonna say is I believe it's July 17th. No, July 16th.
Versus -1.
July 16th, you all better be here. Because it will be Team Spawn Peak against -1. That's the match that I think needs to be shown. And I will make sure that it's shown. In terms of predictions, I do really think that Emrys' team comp does have the nicer time. Obviously, you know, the skill of these players, the Rise might be completely dominant in the top lane, might be able to run over the game completely, and then the Alawi is unkillable on the side. But I do think that Emrys will be easier for, you know, if nothing happens in the game. Right? If it goes completely neutral, everyone's doing the exact same thing, I think Emrys win. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's my kind of stance on it.
What I will say, looking at these team comps, is that I think both teams have a very clear idea of what looks like a good fight for them. And these clear ideas that they have quite a few overlaps. So I'm quite intrigued to see who gets the better of who here.
Just going to make sure that you are actually seeing the game or anything else.
Always helps. It's always good to be able to see the game that you're casting.
Yeah, absolutely. I will quickly pause as I get everything pulled up in game. Where is it? There it is. Objective times, that's all lined up. Excellent. Bear with me just...
Chat off.
Yep, I have. These chuds. These chuds are going to say...
It is a Diamond 4 gamer thing.
Exactly.
They like APA. Love an all chat.
Just need 2 seconds. So Yoon, if you could just carry on talking about team comps and how you think this game is going to unfold. I very quickly need to run off and grab something because I forgot something. I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course.
Chat. If he says anything controversial, don't tell me. I can deny. I have deniability.
So I think the best place to start is just looking at the side of D4G. I think they've got a team comp where when they're fighting in the mid game, if they have their clear lines set, if the Alawi and the Rise are able to stand in front of the Ashe and the Seraphine, the Zinzao is able to create space for them. I think they have a lot of damage to play that front to back sort of team fight. However, Kha'Zix on the side of Emrys is going to be wanting to look for flanks. Rumble can easily drop an ult on the back line to try and separate them, make the front to back kind of fall apart. You can kill the front line if there's no threat coming from the back line. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it ends up going.
Righty. So, now, with that being said...
Let's do it. Let's get it underway.
Let's move, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1. Week 1. D4G against Emrys. D4G on the red side, Emrys on the blue. This is a crucial match to see how these teams will play out. I will just increase the audio slightly so that we can all hear the lovely sounds of the riff. But Yoon, you were saying about the Kha'Zix. Obviously, you are partnered up this season with the Carcow, obviously a incredibly proficient Kha'Zix player. So are you going to be feeding anything back to your jungler after this? Is this kind of some insider trading?
I hope he's taking notes. No, I'm kidding. I know Cacao Kha'Zix is monstrous, and I have a lot of faith in him. I don't think he'll be learning too much watching this, but I'm intrigued, if anything, just to see how these teams match up, especially in the mid lane. I think these are, in my opinion, 2 of the 3 best mid laners in the division. So, yeah, we'll see how they end up facing off.
Now, interestingly enough, even though D4G claimed that Alawi was mid, we do see it in the hands of Lei Feng. So I don't know if that was discussed outside, but in the lobby...
that was a joke. I saw the message. He
was that a joke?
That it was a joke?
Okay, excellent. I've just realised, does my stream title only say Emrys? It does. It does. While I quickly
Perfectly
change.
Natural thing to happen.
It just says Emrys.
This is what happens the first day of the first week. There's bound to be some teething. I'm intrigued that Sion has not opted for the Doran Shield here, which I think would be the better idea into a champion that plays DFT, so you're constantly ticking that bonus regen from the Doran Shield. So I think that would have been the better option. Quite surprised to see him just go for the resistance.
Doran Shield on the Varus as well. Is this kind of like a fad that's coming on us at the moment, or is this actually, you know, something that's worthwhile?
I'm honestly not a fan of it on either of them particularly. I think it actually makes more sense on the Varus than it does on the Sion, but either way, I'm not really seeing it from either side here. I've seen a lot of Sennas with this item. Again, I've actually forgotten the name of it. It's Doran's Helm, actually, I think. Yeah, Doran's Helm. I've seen quite a few Sennas with it, but not really seen it on Varus, who in my eyes can be quite powerful early. I guess he has good enough base damage to not need the...
I can understand it on champs like Cassante or Ornn because they have those armor scalings, but on Sion, who is kind of only wanting to build HP for the most part, it is a little bit questionable, but we'll see whether or not it ends up panning out, as Otts will need to take a reset very shortly. But we do see Cassandra also low on mana on that Rise. Obviously, Yoon, absolute Rise professionado, so I'm expecting to hear a lot about the forthcoming build. What would you build if you were into a Sion mid lane?
I think if you're into Sion, it's a pretty free ticket just to scale and make sure that you get as much CS as you can. You can deny the Sion quite a bit yourself, but inevitably he's going to get some farm. So I wouldn't itemize too much against him. I'd just focus on getting my tier, my rower, finishing my Archangels, getting my... It begins with A. I've forgotten the mana item. That you just
Archangels. Oh, sorry, Lei Feng's going to be dropping very low here. Ignite comes through. That's counter. Getting first blood there. Catching out Lei Feng with that overheat. Yeah. And that is Emrys on the board.
Rumble trades a lot. Rumble trades his ability use for the ability to deal a lot of damage with these auto attacks that I believe do % health as well. He had a lot of damage coming out of the Rumble there, first blood.
Now, interestingly, he did trade. So Rumble is going to end up with less CS in the end of it, except for these last 2 minions, actually. So, he lost 2. Counter, come on.
I'm intrigued to see what they'll do about this, because we have got a Rumble on half health. Whilst he's up in XP against the Alawi, he has no TP, and he is getting pushed in on repeat. He will need bailing out from his jungler, or he's going to have to drop a wave.
Yeah,
I was curious there if Zinzao would path top to try and dive, but I think if you know Kha'Zix is going to be resetting to top, it's maybe a bit too tricky.
we can see the Drake is also spawning very, very shortly. So perhaps they're looking to put a little bit of priority down towards that ball lane. As you were saying, Ots and Cassandra definitely just kind of hello neighboring in the mid lane here. Not really much fighting going on.
Yeah, Sion already beginning to feel very tanky with just a null magic and a Doran's Helm.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, Doran's Helm on 3 separate champions, all in completely different lanes. So clearly it's appearing to be...
Great test of spirit from Leifeng here. This is why he's the Alawi guy.
The counter will be tested.
Doesn't have the equalizer available either, so he can't clear this wave out.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any risk to him though.
He did use it to try and prevent Leifeng from getting damage on the Test of Spirit, which I think might potentially be a waste, because Leifeng was able to sidestep it, as we do see a fight here coming on the bottom side of the mid lane. There's going to be the unstoppable one sword coming out from Ots. He will go down, but he does have that zombie form. Ahsoka's going to be chasing down Cassandra, but Hazard's now in the midst of it. He's going to get caught out by the red line. He's going to be taken down. That's Ahsoka picking up a second kill here for Emrys, but it's traded for Ots. Now, the Nautilus going to be dropping low. Has to flash away from the Seraphine Q, but here comes the Realm Warp. 3 go in, and 1 taken away. What's up, Beijing? Goodbye, Nautilus.
Nice to see a little bit of action with these sorts of team comps. You kind of expect it back a little bit, but yeah. I think you're happier... Well, which side, actually, do you think you're happier taking that trade from? Do you think it was better for D4G, obviously, getting the 2-for-1? Or do you think the kill on the Kazakhs, the kind of main character of this lineup, is more important? What do you think?
I'd have to say I would have preferred either of those kills go in the way of Rise. I think having Rise be that much more accelerated, meaning that you can put a little bit more pressure onto this Sion if needs be. I think that's kind of where the Diamond 4 gamers have a little bit fallen short in the trade. I do think Emrys do come out slightly better. So obviously, Sion is a very low econ champ in this game. He's not entirely reliant on gold. He's happy with whatever he can get. So taking that death there in exchange for a kill on what is going to be probably the most scary member of your team might be very much worth it.
It does mean that for about the next 40 seconds or so, that Sion won't have that unstoppable onslaught to look onto side lane. So he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here. Rise should get priority on waves and be able to move if he wishes.
Oh, we are going to see Equalizer come through here from counter. He's just going to block Leifeng from retreating. Here comes Ahsoka, but Hazard is not too far away. This goes in now. Leifeng drops very, very quickly. Hazard now, left in the 2 versus 1. Isn't going to be able to collapse. Oh, there it goes. The Ash Arrow does manage to land onto counter, but no further play. Wind Becomes Lightning did connect as well. But Hazard...
I'm quite surprised there. I feel like if Alawi had gotten the ult off just a little bit sooner and started healing, that he could have maybe sustained out of that, but just a little bit late on the leap of
Ots is about to get unstoppable one sword. That's going to be Cassandra dropping very low. Does not manage to get the kill. You'd think maybe if we had the Doran shield, maybe he has that more damage on the W, but... Cassandra, very, very fortunate to get out. Oh, this is incredibly greedy. Hazard is on the way. Ots will get that first turret plate. And that's going to be Rise going down relatively swiftly. Flash comes forward there from Hazard, so it will be in exchange for the Sion. So it's flash for flash. Actually, flash for 2 flashes. I think that's an absolutely banging trade for Ots.
Very worth for the Sion. Yeah, I think it's amazing for the Sion. Just look at the size of the wave that Rise is missing here. I think even if Xin Zhao didn't have to flash there, it would still be incredibly worth. I know he's smiling to himself a little bit here. Interesting to see that he's not going for the wave clear AP Sunfire item. Hollow Radiance, that's it.
Yeah, is that Spirit Massage?
It's not. It is, I believe. It is. Quite interesting to buy that.
I guess it would empower the shield that you get from W, but we'll have to wait and see.
Is that more worth than not having that wave clear and that extra damage though? Rise kind of puts himself into a corridor there. Ooh. Another kill over to the Kazakhs. 3-0 already got that Umbral Blade as well.
D4G, this mid-jungle duo, they were one of the reasons why they managed to make it into Div 2 in the first place. But right now, currently looking a little bit dire. Now, counter goes forward. The equalizer comes down. Lei Feng has to flash away. But now with that upgraded teleport, will not be difficult to come back into the lane. And right now, Emrys currently showing a little bit of domination. 1.5 thousand gold lead is the current advantage they hold. Now, the first Drake hasn't been taken despite Ots and Ahsoka doing so well in this mid lane. Do you think maybe it's like a mistake to not have taken this Drake while you've had that very, very good chance of Cassandra going down early?
I think it's more of an avoidance thing. I think that if you've got this early lead, I think it's better to not risk potentially making a mistake than it is to overly force a dragon. In a game like this, where both teams are kind of looking to scale and play team fights, I think you can afford to delay the first dragon a little bit, delay the soul a little bit.
Well,
it does look like we're getting a tussle in the bottom river.
Here. Unstoppable Onslaught catches Shy. That's going to be the Chains of Corruption taking down the Seraphine. Now the fight comes through. Hazard uses the wind, becomes lightning. Isn't going to use the E just yet. Instead using the Crescent Guard to lock down Ahsoka. Stretchline is going to miss, so it's going to be the Kha'Zix going down. Shut down onto the Rise. Now diving in. It's going to be Ali taking down the Ashe. Oh no, Ots is going to take it in the last minute, but the Hazard comes in. Manages to get one. Can he get the second? He manages to take down Ots, and that's now just the Nautilus. Hazard will be taken down by the Scion Zombie, but oh, can he get Cassandra as well? Scion drops very low. A very, very messy fight there from both sides. But you have to feel a fight that goes a little bit messy is currently in favour of D4 Gamers. I felt like that Diamond 4 Gamers would have come out a little bit better in that fight. Obviously, Kha'Zix didn't get any kills. 3 out of the 4 kills went onto the Scion, it looked like. Actually, no, so 2 of the 3 kills went onto Scion. The other one going on to Varus. Kha'Zix didn't really get anything from that situation. So I think it is a little bit of a dreary situation.
I'm quite surprised how that situation ended up happening. It looked like a very one-sided fight the way it started. Seraphine went down without even getting to use that encore. However, it seems like they played the fight wrong. They kind of let the Rise free fire the whole time, and
now
TP's sits in front of them.
TPs are going to be coming in, and Ali. Okay, well the Ashe is going to be very caught out and very taken down. That's Shy falling as well, and Hazard is the third. D4G get caught out on this second time of trying to do this Drake. It's like a monkey's paw. Do we get the Drake? No, they get the Drake, and you also lose 3 members. It's a very weird positional mistake there from the Ashe, who gets caught out. Oh, Cassandra has to back away now. Is slightly at risk here. Ots, no unstoppable onslaught just for the moment, but it's not too far away. That's now up and available, so get ready to hear the horns of the train. Now, Lei Feng goes in. That's going to be the leap of faith, and it takes down that effigy very low. Counter in a very bad spot indeed. He's going to get 2 tentacles spawn on him. None of them will slam down, so he is going to be able to survive for now. But Counter, that was through the Ignite as well. Lei Feng just completely out-traded the Rumble.
That's the power of the Test of Spirit and the Leap of Faith. This allowing to many melee champions is quite the threat. I think even if you're a bit behind in this game, if you're allowing you get a good angle in these team fights, I think you can have a lot of value. It's not like they have the range to really play away from you or kite you that easily.
Bots now moving down to the bot lane. Finds Cortisol and Shy. But that ended up giving 2 kills over to Kha'Zix as well, that skirmish in the bot lane. And now, 2 items on the Assassin here. Oh, hang on, Unstoppable Onslaught comes through. That's going to catch out Cortisol, drops in very low. Kha'Zix comes in for the cleanup. And Shine will just have to back away with his tail between his legs as his ADC falls. Now, Ahsoka needs to be cautious. There is a Xin Zhao in the bush. Going to get locked up there by the repeat cast. Taken down very low. Has to flash away, but he's going to get shut down there by Hazard. Now, caught out by the Dreadline. There's going to be the depth charge used onto Shy, but it's not going to be enough just for now. Here comes Lei Feng. The Nautilus is dropping quite low. Has got the Proto Belt to be able to... Is it Proto Belt? That one? No. Proto Belt is the dash ability. What is that one? The belt. He has the belt. Oh my goodness. Cassandra is going to drop low. Is the Realm Walk going to be able to get... Does he live? Cassandra lives.
Are you referring to the Nautilus item?
Yeah. What is that one called?
Protoplasm.
Protoplasm Harness.
Proto
Belt.
Yeah, they tried to extend the trade after the Kazakhs died. They didn't really have anyone doing any damage to the Xin and with the follow-up coming through from the Ilaoi behind, I think it was a little bit scary there.
Yeah, Kazakhs does end up with a kill, but Xin ended up with 2. As this Herald will be next on the agenda. The Grubs, all 3 Grubs did go the way of Emrys. Now, I wanted to ask you, because I feel like it's been a hot topic recently, especially in the upper levels, the value of Grubs. Obviously, it's based on how much you're actually hitting the turrets, but do you think they have anywhere near as much value as they did last season?
Definitely not as much value, but I think something that is underrated and forgotten a lot about when considering Grubs is that I think it can be used as a window to fight. If you can take Grubs for free and it doesn't ruin your tempo for Dragons or your ability to make a play that'd be more worth, I think it's worth just taking them. But it's similar with Herald, where if you're ahead and you want to fight, it's a great excuse to try and force a fight. If the enemy team contests when they maybe shouldn't, you can just get a fight going that's going to be in your favour, you're already ahead. But yeah, the actual value of the Grubs itself, I don't think is great unless you've got a heavy split pushing champion or champions that can easily hit towers like Caitlyn.
Dive comes through on the bot lane, that's going to be Lei Feng taken down. It's well executed.
It's the same idea there. Again, I just think the Leap of Faith was a little bit late. It was probably doomed anyway, but maybe he could have returned a kill.
Hold on, Cassandra is going to be hunted down here by Arts. Here comes the Ash Arrow. Is going to go wide, and oh my goodness, nearly hit me. Cassandra going to have to respect the Scion space. Now with that Spirit Visage, has been putting in work. So it's Rod of Ages on the rise. Unstoppable Onslaught, hang on a second. Arts does come through here. He's in a 1 versus 4 situation here. Can he outlast the damage of the diamonds? Now, here comes the Encore landing through. It does not manage to land as Arts flashes away, but here comes a TP here from Lei Feng. Manages to land the Testo Spirit onto Ali, who now will take a massive chunk of damage from those technical slams. So that is going to be Herald the way of the Diamond 4 gamers. That's the first kind of good kind of gold influx that they have managed to get. Are currently down 4,000 gold, but that will very quickly change as this Herald is used on top side. Will be used to get this turret. Might be a little bit much for the turret in top, but it guarantees it, so...
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with Ott's flash there. He made a mistake, he went in a bit too early, but the fact he flashed meant the Encore didn't bounce.
Hang on, Hazard might be out of position here. Realm Warp has been used, so can the Rise get them both out? They will. Hazard's damage is ticking away from that Leandris from the Rumble, which, by the way, the amount of damage there that came through from the Rumble burn alone was incredible, but Hazard does survive.
Very scary already at this point in the game. But what I was thinking with that last fight was that if Scion doesn't flash there, and the Encore bounces from him, elongates itself onto the Varus, and Varus has to use Cleanse, potentially even Cleanse and Flash there, it's a pretty nightmare situation. You're not going to have it for the next Dragon at that state. But yeah, I don't know if that was going across Ott's head, but I'm very, very happy for him that he flashed.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a worst case scenario. Let yourself die and keep your ADC alive, as we do see the Unending Despair go into the hands of the Scion. And now, let's talk about this Varus build. Because currently he has a Static Shiv, an Executioner's Calling, and then the components towards a Blade of the Ruined King, except that's a glowing moat, so it wouldn't be Blade of the Ruined King, because that doesn't have ability haste.
I couldn't tell you what he's building off the top of my head. I thought at first it might have been Rageblade or something, but I'm not actually 100% sure.
Sandy does drop low, doesn't go down, but is going to have to use both summoner spells, so that will not be up for the spawn of the Baron. Or potentially, is it potentially Kraken Slayer? No, Kraken Slayer is Heartbound Axe with Rectrix.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's building. I'm going to have to wait and see. Meanwhile,
I haven't seen a lot of the Shiv Varus lately, though.
Hazard does find the Nautilus, but doesn't really lead toward much. This Nautilus is already proving to be not really a contest for the damage of the D4G.
Baron spawning in 10 seconds. It looks like we're opening up the mid lane on the side of Emrys as well, with the tier 1 falling.
Yeah, and right now, it's looking like a very good game for Emrys. Ahsoka and Counter currently looking like some incredible players in this game one. They are tipped to do quite well, Emrys. But whether or not they can prove that speculation, we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, D4G, they have definitely put up a decent fight, but just slight mistakes have meant that they have ended up being slightly behind. There's occasions where they can get significantly better fights, but they just can't get over the finish line. It's not over by any means. Currently in favour of Emrys, but let's see what happens at this Baron fight.
There's a 3-level discrepancy between the Rumble and the Rise, obviously helped by that top quest as we look for the dive on the side of Emrys. The run walk comes out, but it will fail because of the CC. And Nautilus is hit with a soul arrow and comboed into oblivion.
So that's the Nautilus going down.
Very good that the kill went over to the Ashe. Very good to the side of D4G. That was the sort of play where Nautilus would have gotten the combo breaker if this was Arena.
We can only hope that Combo Breaker can come to Summoner's Rift, but it never
will.
I
hope not. I need to CC my enemies. I'm happy with that.
Okay, so it did end up being Rage Blade, so the glowing mote is just there for fun, I guess. Right. Interesting. Well, either way, Emrys do take a slight fall here. Lei Feng is dealing okay damage to the Scion here. It's going to use the Leap of Faith very early, but Ahsoka's going to make sure that it doesn't continue much after that. That's the Kazi. It's getting 8 on the board. And this Drake spawning in about 56 seconds now.
Yeah,
it will be some point.
I have no doubt the Alawi has sustained to be able to live these fights, but without any armor picked up yet, it's very difficult to not just get burst instantly by the Kazakhs. I think later on in the game, I assume he'll go for something like a Death Stance. I think once you've got that, it buys you the time to be able to heal back up. But until that point, I think he's free pickings for Kazakhs. Emrys definitely looking better than they did last split. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
A reminder for anyone watching that they did come 9th. I believe it was a 5-13 record, so a relatively poor record.
I can actually very quickly pull this up. Let's just hope that no one does anything. Emrys, yeah, 5-13. You're exactly right. 5-13. We are going to see, actually, we're going to see the Equalizer come through. Does get a decent amount of damage onto Lei Feng, but the Test of Spirit will not be completed. So that's Counter relatively left alone, but he is going to actually walk out of the range, so he's not going to be free from tentacles just yet. This is a huge fight here. There's some A smash.
The way that
does not
this
manage to land.
now
Realm Warp into the back. Oh, it's a beautiful encore. Manages to land onto 2. It's going to be the Sign going into the back line. It's going to be the Ashe falling first. Lei Feng goes low. It's going to be the Ashe falling first. Now, Ahsoka has not been touched at all this fight. Has this on the back line, taking on with Counter. It's going to be the Rise getting another kill in this fight. Cassandra is pulling this back for the Diamond 4 gamers.
Honestly, what a fantastic Realm Warp and angle to just instantly kill Ali there on the Varus from Restless Gambler. Cassandra, my goat himself.
Cassandra bringing out the heroics. Not letting D4G go down without a fight. Now, just as a reminder, in the UKEL Div 2, the format is 2 best-of-1s. Each team will play either side, as Lei Feng is going to get caught out here. Doesn't have the Test of Spirit to be able to try and get that extra amount of healing, but he is going to get taken down. That's Ahsoka picking up that kill. And now Emrys will start up this Drake, but crucially, Hazard's back out on the map. He is full health. Ahsoka is close to death. Going to be a nice hook in there from the Nautilus, and it will claim the life of Cassandra, but has he bought enough time for the D4G? It looks like he has, as the members of Emrys, it's Counter and Ahsoka having to back away. No cigar,
I think
yes,
this
they're
is
going to pull
scary.
This
has to be quite the heist. It is a heist.
Hazard.
They're going to get out now, though. Sion does have the ult.
Oh, it's a beautiful arrow that lands onto counter. Is it going to be able to take his life? That's the overheat. That's going to be him taken down by Ali. That's going to be the Ashe taken down as well. Causal down. Shy down. And now, Emrys, you may have taken the Drake, but we have taken your lives. It's an ace for Emrys as the Baron is set on their sights. Lei Feng and soon to be Cassandra will be the only members in their way.
That was a bit of a scary situation. I think you've got to consider if your Ashe can hit the targets or not, and their Scion standing there tall and large is not going to let the Ashe hit any of his teammates. He's going to create the space that they need to get away. I think they just had to hit the Drake and run there. Don't think taking a fight or turning was a good idea.
That is Baron there for Emrys Esports. Just as a reminder, they kept 3 components of their last season's 5 and 13 roster: Counter, Ahsoka, and Ali. They've brought in Ots, and then of course the Nautilus, which is Absolutin. And so far, they haven't exactly disappointed, I'd have to say. This Scion has very much played for the jungler. Ahsoka has been able to thrive on this Kha'Zix. But looking the way of D4G, this new roster, they took a break, and now they're coming back. This is not over just yet. It might be a significant gold lead, but we've seen what they can do. Can they pull this back?
If that's possible. I just want to see how much of a gold lead they have. Yeah. I think Ryze and Ashe are in position if the game can just extend a little bit. If they can maybe stop this Baron being able to break the base or getting any inhibitors there, I think they're going to look good. Once Ryze is 16 and has Actualizer, once Ashe has Infinite Edge LDR, yeah, I think they can turn this. The enemy team are low enough. Oh, there's a Rumble comes in as the Ashe arrow hits Rumble.
Rumble comes in and Ryze takes down Counter. Damage is good, but nowhere near enough to take down any of the members of D4G. That's the out that you needed if you are an Emrys hater.
That is huge for the side of D4G. They should be able to just pick up the waves as they come into them. I think it's quite difficult now 4v.
Oh, as we might have lost Yoon. Or maybe I've... Yoon, are you still there? Yoon, I cannot hear you if you are talking. Still cannot hear you. Well, while we try and sort out what is happening to Yoon's mic... Oh. We're going to quickly...
Hello?
Hello, there we go. We can hear him again.
Yeah, I think I got DC'd. It's quite hot in my room, so I imagine that the heat is messing with my computer a little bit. The joys of living in an attic.
I'm not even living in an attic, and I'm suffering.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of what I said in the last 5 minutes has come through, but the main point I want to focus on is just how Ryze works into low-range team comps.
Now,
if he gets the time to scale, he's chilling.
Oh, Lei Feng low. Shy will just about keep him alive with the heal and the W Echo cast. As Lei Feng raging there, as Shy is able to keep his top laner alive and well. I feel like I can't stop talking about this game because every time I do, something seems to go down.
Yeah, I've had that same sort of feeling. You try to make a point about the team comps and oh, there's an Ashe arrow, there's a Rumble.
Oh, and we're fighting. Well, hopefully there is a tiny little quiet moment as teams try and reset for this Drake. Just to remind you all that there is currently UKEL Div 1 games going on. I believe it is... What's the Fuse Chi?
Good Chi.
Good Chi. Good Chi are currently playing, I know that for a fact, because Domain should be joining us later on to cast Fuse Chi against MinusOne. Seeing how MinusOne's roster are able to fare up in this new environment.
Yeah, this is Soul Point going down for Emrys. 5 minutes until Soul now. Mountain Soul is very, very nice to have.
Oh yes, there is actually a repeat. A repeat of the grand finals going on. Broad versus Absolved for Div 1. So I can understand if you're not currently here, as that is an absolute banger of a game. Emrys, pick up that Soul Point. And now, where will we be in 5 minutes' time when that last Drake comes up? It could be the last Mountain Drake. It might be the last of 3. Now, we are going to see the Nautilus get caught up here. Fully locked down. That's all of the CCUs. That's going to be the Protoplasm Harness locked. But now the Nautilus is taken down. This is it's a questionable approach there from the Nautilus. I can understand the idea. Get some vision up before this Baron is available. D4G reading that very well.
It's clear to me that they're trying to play top mid, move into that quadrant and place the top tower to fall back into Baron. It doesn't quite happen that way though, and now they've lost the majority of their safer engage. I want to know really how long this Ashe has until they have Infinity Edge, because they've been sat on just the cloak for quite a while now. I'm surprised they've not based to maybe get a BF sword. They're very close to the BF sword. Thank you for swapping.
There we go. That's the BF sword now, so expect that.
So they're about halfway there to the Infinity Edge.
Whoa! Living on a prayer, dare I say.
And that might be all D4G have, because the gold lead is currently just under 8k to the side of Emrys.
Yeah, it's not favoured for D4G. However, a lot of that gold will be concentrated in this Kha'Zix. Especially a lot of that gold advantage. If we do take a moment to look at the gold, currently 3,000 of that is situated on just the Kha'Zix. 2k on the Varus, and there's actually a further 3k on the Rumble. So the gold lead is very much in control of Rumble and Kha'Zix currently. But can they use it? We have seen plenty of equalizers come down, but it hasn't actually gotten any kills. Emrys haven't got a kill since, I believe, the third Drake? They've been on 22 kills for a while.
I think the fact that the game has slowed down a lot is very beneficial to D4G. It does mean that we see the level 16 come through on the rise, and the death cap. That man is looking very scary in blue.
Yeah, Corbin, if you are still here, is there anywhere that people can see the Div 2 schedule? Because I don't want to... Obviously, I can't show the document. Ots does get engaged upon here. Hazard is going to be the engager, but look at the Scion. Oh, the unstoppable one sword does get blocked, so Hazard's going to match that flash for flash. Gets the third knock up, and now he's locked down for real. Counters here. No equalizer in the pocket. D4G are going to back off. They're claiming that as a win, getting that Scion ult and flash. But actually, nothing in exchange. No summoner spells, no ultimates.
It's a win for sure. I think Rumble was quite worried to use equalizer there, because if you use such a major cooldown, you can't really contest the Drake as easily.
He doesn't have it just yet. It's coming off cooldown. That's why I was interested to see, did D4G,
that was very interesting.
Were they aware of that? And was that why they...
I'm going to guess not.
Maybe they just assumed he had it and they backed off as a result. So it's just come off cooldown now. Does that give Emrys a little bit of an out? Because now the Scion ult is also available, and Rise hasn't got Ghost. So now, effectively, Emrys are on even playing field in terms of overall utility to be able to use. I'd be very scared if I was D4G for this fight. It might just be a wallet diff, because this Kha'Zix also has GA, so if you kill him once, it's not going to be enough. Just I'm kind of wanting to manifest a fight just to see what's going to happen, but at the same time, these two teams, they're playing so well. D4G are doing really well to find these picks.
We're coming up to a very interesting part in the game. The Dragon Soul 40 seconds away. Baron is already up. Let's see the dance around mid lane. Let's see what teams prioritize here.
Anyone in Twitch chat? What is your guess? Who is going to be winning out in this game? Let us know who you think. Do you think that Emrys will try and push themselves through to victory, or can the Diamond 4 gamers shine through the night? Counter will be connected by the Wind Becomes Lightning. It's going to be the Decimating Smash. Does not connect on anyone, but just clears the wave. The Harpoon's coming through there from Counter. Test of Spirit will not be able to connect onto the Kha'Zix there. It's a little bit of a dance here. There is an encore available. Shy, can you land it? Hazard now lines up, manages to land the W. Isn't going to take it just
Can
yet.
they get into the river, though? It's very scary. Lei Feng standing in front of his kittens on
Rise on the flank.
Are we going to see a realm warp?
It isn't available. It's been used. Realm warp's been used. Where's he going? It's got cancelled. Ahsoka's taking him down. The rest of the fight's going to be happening. There's going to be the leap of faith in the middle of it. Naride win. The Nautilus drops very low. Ahsoka's going to be going in. That's the Alawi going down. It's Nautilus for Alawi. And now it's 4 for Emrys. Hazard is the last man standing. Is he going to be able to try and get out alive? He will not be able to. Emrys have taken a stand. TP's coming in. That's Sion into the mid lane. Ahsoka flashing over the wall. And Emrys will charge down mid lane. 35 minutes into this game. They're not even going to bother with the Drake. The soul is not a necessity. The Nexus, however, will be their prize. Emrys takes game 1.
First game over to Emrys. I'm quite surprised at the thought process for that last team fight from D4G. I think we spoke about it earlier when we said that the only real person in this game that could be thinking about a flank is perhaps a Sion or Kha'Zix locking onto someone that's CC'd. But to do it on the Rise here, I think you need to have your Xin Zhao and your Alawi in front of you to really be able to dish damage out. So I was quite surprised to see that move there, and I think it might have ended up costing the game a little bit there.
Yeah, it will be Emrys taking game 1. Now, for those who are not aware of the UK EL format, Div 1, the exact same as Div 2. Both games are treated as a best of 1, which means that all champs are still available. This is not fearless. What happens is the teams swap sides. So now, D4G will be on blue, Emrys will be on red. Picks and bans, everything's up and available. We can see identical comps that come through, but the crucial thing is emotion. Obviously, the emotions are going to be very different. D4G are going to want to try and get this win. They're going to want to try and prove that they can call through. I feel like Lei Feng didn't have the best game 1. I know what he's capable of. I don't think that was his best showing. Personally.
I do love Lei Feng. It is for anyone that's been around in the UKL a while and is familiar with the name Lei Feng, the level 3 death is a big part of his toolbox. I've not seen it in a while. I think he's done a good job at avoiding it, but it did end up happening that game, unfortunately. Puts him in a bit of a rough position into an already not great matchup.
Okay, so we have got a draft for game 2.
Wasting no time.
It isn't active. It is not active. Let me just make some necessary adjustments that I should have made beforehand. There we go. There we go. Okay, so they are just awaiting on someone to go to the toilet. It's the admin, I think. Okay, well, that's fair. Well, game 1, I think that was a little bit shaky from Emrys in the mid game. I think that they did get very much helped by a slightly lackluster engage from D4G. The realm warp didn't go off. I don't know what ended up happening on that bottom side of the screen, but Ahsoka managed to take down the Rise. Cassandra, who had a brilliant game, just did not manage to get in the mix of it. I think if that realm warp goes off, I think it's a completely different fight. I think maybe the Rise just went slightly too close and got caught by Ahsoka, perhaps a little bit in his.
It was honestly an interesting. It's honestly an interesting game the way it ended up unfolding. There were a few early kills from the lanes from the side of Emrys, but the early skirmishes did look pretty even or even D4G favoured. So to see the game end up going that way was quite surprising. I think with the lead that Emrys had in a game state like that, they didn't do a lot to accelerate it. I think a lot of the problem with that was because people were getting picked off occasionally, like the Nautilus, and that does slow you down, and it does give D4G time to just pick up waves, pick up items. So I think whilst they did win this game, it wasn't the cleanest game, but I think when it's the first game of the series, you're just happy to get a win, regardless how it looks.
Yeah. Whenever you win matters, you're definitely happy with that. So, just keeping an eye out to see if there are any kind of adjustments in terms of substitutions. Currently, none on the radar, as everyone still remains in the lobby. Let me just make sure that they've not gone into draft without telling us. They have not. And I think, what you said in draft is absolutely correct. The Scion did prove to be an absolute asset for the side of Emrys. That Scion, that beefy front line, they just could not go through it.
I think it was a good idea to flex it like that. I think it sounds a great early blind, and when they got that Alawi matchup and they moved it to mid, I think it's good drafting in general. I think it's very clever.
Just sending a quick message to make sure that everything is all in order.
Can you remember Brod's mid laner from last split? He's played for them for quite a few splits on and off. Beartree, he did play Scion in that final game 1 of Div 1 last split.
Yes.
So we have seen Scion mid in the UKL before.
He retired this season, didn't he?
He did. He's a very, very good player. I had the privilege of playing against him myself a few times, and definitely one of the biggest challenges that I've had. Fantastic player.
Otz is currently in the chat. So everybody, that is your Scion that you just witnessed.
Wow, you were ghosting the other team, Otter. Shake my head.
Disappointing. Well, let's talk about how we think these teams will basically react and kind of play off of what's just happened. Because obviously, if you're D4G, you're not going to be entirely pleased, especially obviously because it's a loss. You're not exactly going to be happy with the loss. But what would you now do? Obviously, you've played many games across the seasons. When you go down game 1, what is it that you kind of look to do in game 2? What is the kind of focus? Do you try and enhance the things that you don't think you did well, or do you look to try and explode the ways that you did do well? What's the kind of approach that you like?
Wow, I think that's a really good question. I think that a lot of it goes off of feelings and vibes. It might sound like quite a cliche thing to say, but I think depending on how you're feeling attitude wise, maybe you're a little tilted or a bit tired or whatever. I like to try and get comfort first and foremost when I'm behind in a series. Because I don't think that winning is out of their reach at all. I think these are quite closely matched teams. I would just like to see a Rek'Sai from Hazard. It is probably going to be banned, let's be honest, but I would like to see a Rek'Sai from Hazard. I'd like to see something up Sandy's wheelhouse like Aurora or LeBlanc, something like that. He's very capable of playing these champions very well. A hyper carry for Corthus or Maxa himself. Just something comfort that they're used to playing, because they did have quite a comfortable draft last time, but again, it's quite difficult to play the same draft into the same draft if you get rank coming from there.
Yeah.
If you're already behind on gold, you kind of just get stat checked at that point.
Well, game 2s are currently underway. Just as a reminder, currently going on, there is actually a game which is happening right now, which is Abyssal Randoms against Aversio. Aversio are coming off of not a bad spring split, all things considered. Obviously, Abyssal Randoms were, I believe they were in Div... Were they... Open qualifiers, or were they Div 1?
Abyssal Randoms came through the open qualifiers because the
Yeah.
team dropped out of Division 2. So they were third place in the qualifiers and ended up getting that spot that was created.
Yes.
There are some notable names on that roster. I think the most obvious is Influentic, the mid laner. He has played Div 1 for teams like Verdant before. I think he's personally a very good player. He's probably the star of that roster. Do you have any idea what the result is for that game?
I'm just having a look. Game 1 hasn't been published because it's starting in a minute's time. They had to delay it by an hour, unfortunately. Draft is currently underway, so let me send us over to that screen. Boom! Production value. Zyra the first ban. Do you need me to stream, or do you have the link? Actually, why don't I just send you the draft link?
I've got it.
You've got it? Great. Insider trading with Plaything here. Right, okay, buddy. Now, of course, that Rek'Sai does get taken away. Like you said, Hazard has already kind of proved that if it gets into his hands, he will be a threat. But Zyra and Briar. Now, I am aware that Ahsoka is a Briar player. I have never seen Ahsoka play Briar, so I'm assuming that he's pretty good at Briar.
From what I remember, I'm sorry if I get any of this information wrong, but from what I remember, I believe he's in Grandmaster predominantly playing that Briar, so it's quite obvious to see why they take it away. I think it's quite a game warping pick as well. We get the Orianna B1, so very, very standard to see. I think there are matchups you can pick into it. I think there are some good matchups you can pick into it, but it's a very solid start to the draft.
Well, most things are left on the table currently. I think what would you think traditionally? Would you want to take like an Aurora potentially into this and maybe match it, take away the Nocturne to stop that?
I know what I like to pick. But I won't leak on stream what I've been picking into Orianna.
I know what you've been picking.
It's a bit unconventional, if you like, but
I feel like I know what you've been picking into Orianna, but I will not spoil.
Victor, Victor.
Interesting to see the Victor
come through. Where, to me, I feel like it should be Victor winning, but I actually have a friend who's a Victor one trick in Grandmaster, and this guy says that it's actually a very, very free matchup for the Orianna through the entire game, which I'm not sure if that's because he's particularly good or if that is just how the matchup goes, but I've always thought it was quite Victor favoured.
Well, Seraphine will be that third lock-in, so now Emrys hold on to the Seraphine. Now, if you are D4G, do you take away the Ashe, or do you just handshake it with the Ezreal potentially, or even something like a Smolder? I think we're not seeing enough Smolder at the moment. I think obviously the change has come through, so the Black Cleaver does not function the same as it does. They are going to pick away the Ashe. Would it be Ashe Braum? Ashe Braum is usually...
It's interesting. You could do Ashe Braum, but I feel like with taking Braum into a ranged support feels like you're kind of conceding the lane in a way. The Seraphine does have other pairings other than just Ashe. Obviously, Ashe is the predominant one. I'm not sure how much value there is in just taking it away.
Ashe Melio. Interesting partnership there. I feel like you're going to be lacking a little bit of damage very early on. There's not really going to be that massive wow factor. But what would you partner up with this Seraphine now? I feel like... What?
Oh, it's the Seraphine APC. We didn't really consider that, did we? I'll be completely honest.
Why would I?
It didn't cross my mind.
Nocturne's going to be... Nocturne's taken away there. Is this a bait from Emrys? Did they want to play the Seraphine APC the whole time? This could be a very good bait.
I imagine that was probably the case. It's probably quite a fine lane into the Ashe as well.
Well, okay, so that's Neferi hovered for the ban. Remember, all the picks from Game 1 are still available. Kha'Zix is still available. That did get picked up late into the draft by Emrys, but it's still open. Nocturne going to be taken away. That's Wukong. So now, if you're going for kind of premier AD junglers, you've got Vi, you've got Xin Zhao still up and available. What else? Lee Sin, if you're really feeling cooking that much. But D4G, what's your final ban going to be?
I'm glad that they took the Neferi off the board. I think it would be really nice for D4G to play the Neferi, but obviously you're not getting that fourth pick before the opposition are, so you can't really leave it open and hope that you get it.
That's fine.
They decided to remove the Vi, so getting rid of some of that more engage style.
I feel like this might be a Xin Zhao. This might be a Xin Zhao for Emrys is the likely.
It could well be. It's always nice to play it with an enchanter and to just have the Seraphine thrown over your head while you're making space.
Or Pantheon. Now, there is a certain Div 1 player known as Uki who is an absolute monster on the Pantheon currently. So let's see if Ahsoka can go spear for spear. And at the moment, this is looking very Emrys favoured. I do like that flexibility of the Seraphine to take it into the bot lane, specifically. As that's going to be a Scion locked in there. It's most likely a blind pick for Scion top lane, just to give Lei Feng something a little bit more secure.
Yeah, the Scion has switched hands for this game. It seems that you've seen Ox do it, and now Lei Feng wants to say that you can do it better. Let's see if he can.
Yeah. And that's going to be Xin Zhao jungle. So a very, very standard draft here from D4G. Melio, ever so slightly a variation, but at the same time, it is a very, very consistent core. Xin Zhao Orianna, Ashe with an Enchanter, and then obviously the Scion as a safe blind pick. Now, counter. What are you going to pick into this Scion? You have free reign. Do you have the counter pick? Show me what you're cooking. Okay.
Which draft are we feeling? What do we like here? If you have any ideas in the chat, you drop them.
I fear for Emrys. I do fear for Emrys. I think that this Xin Zhao is going to be all over the map and the Pantheon isn't going to be able to keep up. I think Pantheon will lose early, for certain. I don't think he has enough pieces to be able to win out in any lane. I don't think you should never be ganking top this game. Either side, never gank top. Unless they are underneath your turret, they've already tanked 3 tower shots and they are on 5 HP. I don't see a point in ganking top. Get your mid laners ahead this game. This is going to be a battle of Cassandra against Ots. The new mid laners on the block, the new additions to these teams. This is going to be kind of the test on whether or not these partnerships really work in Div 2. And I feel like D4G, part of me wants to say that they might be able to pull it out of the bag.
It's quite interesting here. I'm not overly fond of either team comp, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, in all honesty.
I do feel like they feel like kind of different ideas joined together, a little bit disjointed. Not too different, but very much disjointed.
Now, obviously, this is the last game for these two, for now at least. They will, I believe they have a rematch. No, they don't have a rematch. This is the only time they meet.
This is the only time they play, because we play 2 best of 1s.
Yes, 2 best of 1s.
9 game days, I believe. Instead of playing 1 best of 1 in 18 game days. Just gives everyone a bit of a rest.
Yes. So they've basically half the number of days, but double the number of games in that day. Which I think is better. I would have liked these to be fearless. I think it would be really cool if they were fearless. Just because it gets a chance to stretch those muscles, but it also would present a challenge for admins, because obviously you'd have to have seedings and who gets what side on what game, and obviously as you go later into the draft, R5 becomes significantly more valuable. And let's be honest, no one wants to play, 5 games, like a best of 5 for the regular season.
I do think
you do.
I do agree with the regular season, but I love the best of 5. Personally, I'm a fan of the best of 3 kind of format.
Yeah, I agree. Best of 3 fearless. I think it'd be a really good addition, but obviously with the number of teams, the number of games going on, it'd be a bit tricky on the getting everyone together on the side of things. And of course, that last game does start at 8:30, so at the latest you'd be expected to finish at midnight, BST at least. So obviously that would go very late. So I think that's the reason why they've done it, just for the sake of people's sanity, for the most part. We are just awaiting the spectate delay for now, so we're going to take a very short break, get yourself some refreshments, get yourself some popcorn, Because, ladies and gentlemen, D4G against Emrys will be back.
We are locking in.
And they'll be back just after this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKEL Div 2, Week 1, Day 1.
Whoop, whoop.
D4G against Emrys Game 2. This is it for these two. They get one more showing against each other, and holy Jeebus. What a game I hope it's going to be. We are actually going to see Otz walking down bot here with the Seraphine and Nautilus. So is he going to be looking to try and get a little bit of cheeky damage onto the Ashe Melio early on? It's going to be the Nautilus wall moving forward. It's going to be the hook onto Ashe. They can definitely get a flash out here very early on. That's going to be Cortisol. Now down that flash. So
I like the level 1 plan. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
By the looks
Especially
of things,
start with the sweeper and take that ward out straight away. Just take over the bush when you're into double ranged early. It's really nice.
Now here's one for you. Gnar has Doran's Helm. I'm not sure of this.
I agree. I think it's a little bit random, to be honest. I don't think that you're under threat particularly as Gnar in this matchup. I think once you're level 3 and onwards, you can kind of bully the Scion without really being at risk at all. Obviously, as long as you're careful that you don't get ganked. Whilst you probably aren't going to get ganked, it's not worth giving away a free 300 gold.
Yeah, interesting to see the amount of priority being placed on the Doran's Helm. It is 10 armor and 10 magic resist. Yes, it does have that Doran's Might passive where it has got 5 extra damage to minions. But at the same time, every Doran's item has that.
Or just has a more AD than you get from,
Yeah.
from that. Massive.
I'm not sure about the priority for the Doran's Helm, especially not on a Gnar. I feel like if you're a Gnar into a Scion, I'd even go Cull in this matchup.
I think the Cull is maybe a little risky, although you're the god of Gnar, as we all know.
As everyone knows.
Yeah, I think the main consideration to make. My brain has gone blank. There was something I wanted to say there.
Is it how much you're actually going to be fighting?
No, 1 sec.
Okay, while Yoon is battling his demons, meanwhile, Cassandra, very low on mana currently. In this 1v1 against Ots, we did see Ots basically pull away on that Scion in game 1, but now, on a pick with a little bit more proactivity as the victor. Obviously, we'll be looking to try and scale up as much as he can. But I'm very much expecting jungler intervention to come through. Now, I know that this is a petty one now. The Doran's Helm is whatever, but this is a petty one. I don't like that the Xin Zhao has a health pot. I don't like that. He has cleared his jungle on full health, and he still has the pot.
Orianna's kind of suffering to the victor range here, even though they're both low mana. And I just remembered what I wanted to say.
The demon's lost.
It was the fact that I think when a new item is added or a new component or whatever, I think it tends to get overbought and overhyped. And I think that's the case a lot of the time with this Doran's Helm. I think it is valuable sometimes. Oh, I'll let you interrupt.
Sorry to interrupt. As Ots will get knocked up there. That's going to be the W connecting. That's Conqueror procced as well. Ots will actually be the first blood here. And Hazard, like I said, he joins in the mid lane, partners up with the Orianna and takes down the Victor for first blood. Already getting in a lot of good action. He is repeating his game 1 pick of the Xin Zhao, but off to a much better start is Hazard. He still has that pot in his inventory, though.
I think it's interesting. We've got so many of the same champions in the second game, even if a couple of them, like Scion, like Seraphina, swapped allegiances.
Yeah, Nautilus is actually still in the hands of Absolution. And obviously Xin Zhao still in the hands of Hazard. But right now we actually are going to see that Nautilus come into mid lane. That's going to be Absolution and Ots partnering up. Flash forward here from Shy. Manages to use the warm hugs and gets that W away. Oh my god! It's going to be able to get that kill on Ots. Nautilus manages to get the return kill, but it's absolutely disastrous as it's nothing for Ots and everything for the Orianna.
He might be the MVP there, Shy, with a really clutch use of summoners there. I think the only downside here for this D4G is just that the wave state is not great there. I think Hazard is mid right now trying to fix it.
Yeah, Hazard and Ahsoka.
Hold this
wait, Ahsoka needs to be cautious here. Now, Hazard does not have enough mana to be able to try and use another full combo, so he is going to have to disengage. Now, there is going to be the Gnar come through here from counter. Laythane drops low. Not low enough to confirm a kill, but it does give counter significantly more control of this lane. It's currently down in farm on the Gnar, which you wouldn't actually expect in this matchup.
I am quite surprised at that. I think it is possible, but maybe shouldn't particularly be happening. Laythane wanting to avenge the early lane phase from the previous game, looking really solid in this one. Into the counter pick of Gnar.
Not quite rock solid. There is no Malphite in this game, but so far has not died in the first 3 minutes. So Laythane already doing better than his game 1 count. As right now, he's able to shove in and control this wave. -1. Laythane missed a caster minion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. But despite this
Mr.
kill,
Caster, we are so back.
Oh, we are so back. It's even again, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I think he missed 2. Never mind, D4G are smoking them. That's how you base it, on how many caster minions your top laner has missed. Laythane coming back through the river now. It's going to be able to land the decimating smash, but it will be flashed away by counter. Oh, Grand Starfall here into the middle. Beautiful cancel there.
Fantastic.
By the mid laner of Diamond 4 Gamers.
Fantastic
Excellent shockwave
there from Cassandra. Wow. I'm even more of a fanboy of him than I already am after that one. Really, really nice. Preventing any follow-up from the Victor with the gravity field.
Yeah, blocking that stun entirely. Very well played there. Like I feel like we're seeing that hunger come through from D4G. They know that they qualified here. They know that they are rightfully here.
Nice. No flash and just used E.
Counter. Not going to look all too bad. It's going to be Hazard's flash. Oh, Hazard, you chud. He will get the W in a moment.
The flash when you're already slowed is a bit risky as the Pantheon shows up top lane to try and cover his Gnar into a safe exit. Yeah, we've all done it. You're lying if you say you haven't. We've all flashed when we're slowed to try and reach someone and we've not quite got there. As we see the rage bait Q from Melia.
Well, I mean, I've never done that because I'm the best player of all time. Faker wishes he was me.
Very true. Very true. Say that with a straight face.
No. Gun to my head, tell me to say that with a straight face. I'm getting shot. Because right now, the game is actually relatively even despite the kill disparity. Now, it is only one kill, so of course it's not going to be mountains and mountains of gold difference. I believe it's coming from the turret plates at this moment in time.
I'm pleasantly surprised, to be honest, because I think when you look at this draft, the thing that should be happening early game is that Emrys should have the winning lanes.
Oh, hang on. Ots did get caught out a little bit by the shockwave. The damage is not there.
You'd expect them to be able to get the plates in these matchups and not D4G.
Counter there. Manages to pick up the first in top. And this is 3 grubs going the way of Emrys, so they are going to be able to get that progressive damage on those turrets a little bit faster.
Are we going to see a move for the dragon here? We know that they've recently taken the grubs. Pantheon likely resetting in their heads right now and opening back up bot lane. I think the window has elapsed. I think it's gone. The Grand Starfall is coming up soon, though. He could look for another play mid lane. Shockwave is currently down on the Orianna, although she does have flash.
She will have TP in just a moment, it looks like. You can't actually tell based on the icon. There it is. That's now back up the TP. Right now, a little bit of dancing here for the top laners. Counter will go Mega. As he manages to basically keep himself alive. Now it is to be said that if this ends up being even... Ooh, pardon me. If it does end up being more even, then it is Sion favoured, as he does provide a lot in team fights.
I think that it's easier to have value on the Sion and consistent value at that. I don't think there's a point in the game where you're ever more useful than the Gnar on side, though. I think the Gnar should always have that one-on-one advantage in mini form. In Mega, it's kind of a nothing burger, to be honest, but in mini form, you're always winning because of that percent health magic damage coming from the W. Yeah. As we see the dragon going over to D4G.
D4G. It's not going to be contested. Taken very, very cleanly. I hope.
That makes a change from the last game.
That is going to be a massive change. That's the second of these changes now. D4G being a little bit more proactive, getting that first blood, getting that first Drake as well. Counter goes underneath the turret. Is going to proc the crystalline corrosion, and now might potentially look to not proxy. Actually, is just going to back away. I'm not a massive fan of Gnar at the moment. I know that he is... Well, actually, is he a pro play staple? I don't think he is anymore. He's not really been picked.
I think he's definitely had his eras. If we think back to the... I believe it was 2016, 2017, where you'd see a lot of Rumble, Gnar, and Kennen as kind of the trifactor of top lane.
And then it became like Renekton, Nidalee, into like picking Gnar into Renekton, and then that kind of stuff like that.
I feel like Gnar is still very good right now, but he's kind of got more of an identity than just a general pick. I think you take him into these tanks where you can kind of use the hyper procs to get priority into them, and you scale reasonably well in team fights too. So it's almost like a better Renekton, if you like.
Yeah, I do think Renekton is the biggest chud champ, so it's very hard to be worse than Renekton in my eyes.
Especially when Leifang plays him.
Oh yeah. Honestly, okay. Let me ask you something here. What would your thoughts on a Shen be in this situation? Oh, never mind. I'm going to have to interrupt myself. Hazard's going to be caught out there by counter. No further action, so I'm going to go back
Who
to my
would the Shen
question.
be?
I'm thinking counter on the Shen. Obviously, I know that Lei Sheng is an absolute icon.
That is very, very funny.
I do like the global presence that you have in tandem with the Pantheon. As we are actually going to see a fight here. Never mind. I guess I'm never going to be able to talk about compositions. Okay, guys, we can't keep doing this where I acknowledge there's a fight happening and then you stop after I acknowledge it. Counter. Goes Mega. Goes in. Locks down Lei Feng, who cancels the Pantheon stun there with the unstoppable onslaught. Hazard now goes in onto the Nautilus. Q3 is available. Nautilus just mogs the
We all
Zinj out.
knew it was going to flash, but very funny to see him do it during the knockup. In regards to the Shen, I see it. I think it has value. I just think that Gnar is the easier champion to play in the side.
Oh yeah, no,
even
completely.
Even if the Shen is maybe more stable for the rest of the team, it's hard to say. But in general, I will say I think Shen is underpicked. I think this champion is a lot better than a lot of people think.
Yeah, I think especially if you have the champions like the Jinx, like those hyper carries where it's just I'm gonna sacrifice myself for the greater good. As never mind, Lei Feng is gonna be taken quite low. Here comes the Mega Gnar. Counter has got the ultimate. Flash away by Lei Feng. As the Gnar will potentially look to chase. Here comes the Pantheon with the Grand Starfall. Flash away from Lei Feng, so he's not going to get caught out by those two. But the turret is now at the mercy of the top jungle duo of Emrys. That's the third plate gone. Ahsoka going to be able to lock up Lei Feng underneath the turret, so he's going to be taking up this turret now. This is risky. Ahsoka!
I don't think it's that easy. The thing is, that was great foresight from Lei Feng to flash there, because the Gnar itself, not a problem, but the Pantheon follow-up, he could sense it coming. And that was a bit risky. I think you have to play that dive in 2 stages. I think you have to get a bit of damage down, re-dive after the heat of the tower has gone. But yeah it's tried to do it all in one go. It's not possible through the tankiness.
And as a result, Ahsoka is going to have to take a very, very reluctant reset before going into the bot side camps without the Grand Starfall. Now, it is going to be in exchange for the first turret, so Emrys do manage to take a gold lead. But all in all, I think it was slightly misplayed there by the top jungle duo of Counter and Ahsoka. As now they move down into this bot side jungle. Ahsoka's just going in! Manages to catch out the Orianna with that lockdown. Here comes the Chaos Storm here from the Victor. Enchanted Crystal Arrow almost hits Little at this point. As now it's going to be a charm landing onto Hazard. Currently locked up very, very deep, but he is still alive. Nautilus might potentially be the first to go in. He's going to get taken out by an Orianna auto attack. Ots now in a very, very bad spot. Gets picked up by the Ashe, and here comes Counter. In comes a Mega Gnar inbound. Can he land the ult? He has got it available. Has not got flash. So it will just be a hop to try and catch out the Zinj. Oh my god, this is heartbreaking to watch. Counter does manage to find it. He will end up finding the ult. And now Sion all in onto Ahsoka, who does drop quite low, but Ali is there to keep him alive. It's now all in onto this Sion. Ali going in. We saw him on Varus game 1, and now it's all about Seraphine. Dodging the decimating smash as Lei Feng looks like he might survive. Not exactly in the healthiest state of things, but definitely not dead.
Funny about watching a Sion walk away taking no damage. It kind of wants you to put the Benny Hill thing on. Truly. I think that fight is winning for D4G, but I think it could have been much better for them, to be honest. I think that the loss of the Ashe was maybe not necessary. It did flash over the wall. Maybe didn't notice that the Gnar was behind when she did. But yeah, I think that fight could have been even more winning for D4G had a few more things gone their way.
Now, it is 3 kills going the way of the Gnar, which I do think isn't the greatest. I would prefer a lot more gold going into the pocket of the Victor to try and get a little bit of surge ahead of this Orianna. However, at least it's not... Oh, never mind, the Nautilus picked up a kill. Well, I guess forget everything I just said.
I think what I will say is it does speed up the rate at which you get your Triforce Black Cleaver, which is the main spike really for side laning Sion. You can see here that it's the hyper props that are doing all the damage here.
Yeah, that max health damage coming through. And then the Spare actually picked up a Lei Feng, so opting not for the Ots build of going the Spirit Visage first, instead going the unending first.
If he did Spirit Massage first this game, we might have to check his computer for a bribe from.
Check him PayPal, ref. Admin, he disconnected. Okay. Off the record here. You're not a member of Division 2. Do you think there's ever been any like in trading? Like
I'd be very surprised at our level. It's not exactly like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on who wins. I think the most that's ever been bet on a Div 2 match is probably like a meal deal or first round of pints at the spoon, stuff like that.
You're being called a professional win trader by your own support.
Is that? I thought it would be. Before you even said it, I was going to guess is this Michael.
Well, yeah, I said your support.
Real.
I am looking forward to being able to watch. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to watch on Thursday, but I am going to be looking forward to the results.
I'm excited to play against Glorpcat, to be honest. They've been in the league a few splits now, and I feel like they've kept a very similar roster the whole time. Maybe even it's that same roster the whole time. So it's always nice to see those guys come back.
Yeah, they haven't.
It's a bit scary for the Orianna here. Opts not to try the hook.
Oh, Asharo lands onto Ali, so that's going to be a massive amount of damage coming through. Ali is just going to get solo killed by Cortisol. That's definitely going to impact your mental health.
Oh, this is fantastic. Should get a lot of plates over to the Ashe here.
Yeah, TP will come through.
From Victor, I believe.
It's. Oh, I don't know why. I thought it was a double TP there. For some reason.
Nar was basing on the map. Did it look like he was also TPing?
Oh, because I checked to see if he had it and he didn't. I was like, oh my goodness, are we double TPing for an Ashe on mid lane? But very much a misplay there from Ali. Uncharacteristic, definitely. Hazard now might potentially be stunned out here. So Ox is going to be able to get a lot of damage down, but that's going to be the absolute warm hug fire.
That's going to be the breath of life, too, from Melio. I definitely knew the name of that ability, and I didn't just read it off the screen.
Off what screen?
Hold Z. It'll open the chat, and you can see Melio used R, breath of life.
Wait, why is the chat on? God, I'm so glad that these guys aren't creatures.
0 slurs uttered so far.
Yeah.
Good job, team.
Good job, guys. Good job, guys. Oh, oh my god, do you know what I've just realised? Shorty's on Fuse Chi, isn't he? Shorty, you're on Fuse Chi now.
Yeah, if you've not noticed, I've been thinking about that the whole time.
No, I clocked it, but I forgot. I keep forgetting that I'm casting Fuse Chi today. I completely forget that they're playing today.
Yeah, right? We're gonna get the +1 support evolved versus the new -1 roster. It'll be intriguing to see how both of them get on.
Shorty, if I see an Ornn, I'm going to assume that you're win trading. If I see an Ornn.
Honestly, I think that Fuse2 did some pretty good business in the off season. I look at the roster and I see some names of players that I really do like playing with and think are very capable players.
Just looking at
I think about the top laner Chocolate. Yeah, I think about Barney in mid. I think he's very good as well. You can't give that guy Annie. Cannot give that guy Annie.
There's currently trading going on between Fuse Chi and Team Spawn PO. Oh no. Alright, well, Ots is going to have to use the Rocket Belt to try and dodge away from the Ashe Enchanted Crystal Arrow. As we talked about it a bit ago, I believe it was during the monthly cup, when it was Victor versus Karma, sorry. As it's going to be D4G getting the second Drake. Both mid laners built Rocket Belt. We're back here again with both mid laners having Rocket Belt. Now, I do see the value in it on the side of Emrys. Obviously, that Victor is going to need to be dodging away from a lot of skill shots, so I can understand it. Or, in your opinion, should the Orianna build the Rocket Belt here, or do you think she's kind of stunting herself?
To be honest, I don't mind it at all on Orianna here. I don't really... I don't really like it, but I don't mind it. It sounds like quite the juxtaposition to say that, but I wouldn't personally build it if that is the basis of the question. I wouldn't personally build it.
Kind of just trying to get an idea of like.
The thing is that I always build pretty much full damage, unless there's a champion that benefits more from utility like Vex or from like Silas with cooldowns and things like that.
I bet you're the type of person who plays Pokemon who only has 4 damaging moves, as we are going to see counter come through here. This is the Gnar.
I think that's everyone's experience when they're young is, this move doesn't do any damage, I'm not adding
I'm not using it. Or like you're the type of person to read a move and like assume that you know what it does based on the name of it.
I mean, Thunderbolt sounds pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I always thought that Thunderbolt did more damage than Thunder because I was like, it's a bolt of thunder, not just like general thunder.
I believe Thunder does more, but
Thunder does more, but less accuracy. Yes.
Yeah.
Counter is going to get caught out very low. Here's going to a Grand Starfall. Ooh, cheeky little Melio kick there.
Ash almost instantly killed.
Cortisol drops low, so that's going to be Ahsoka dropping very low as well. The Ash Arrow comes in at the tail end of it to take down the Pantheon, and it's just going to be a kill to D4G. I said that they'd come in hungry. They look a little bit hungry. I'm not full, says Lei Feng as he goes all the way through. And Lei Feng, your voice has gotten very manly as now the Baron is in their sights.
On mic, but I will refrain from that.
I was about to roar. Now, is this going to be the flip of ages? Joe, as we go through, Emrys won game 1. As we come in through, here's a beautiful shockwave that catches out Ops. That's the victor down. Hazard. Lei Feng. Oh, wait, we might have potentially very good ult from Gnar coming through. That's now the Orianna traded. Ali picks up that second kill onto the Ashe. Hazard's in the backline. Melio goes down to counter as well. It's going to be Lei Feng taken down by the Gnar. Hazard now in a 1 versus 3 situation. D4G have turned this all around the wrong way. They've got caught in traffic. It's a triple kill for counter, who has been perfect so far. And as Ahsoka joins them, it's going to be the Baron.
That was looking pretty good for D4G at the start. I think the main mistake there was going straight back onto Baron, whilst they could have extended the fight. I think if they kept moving forward and maybe even looked for 1 or 2 more picks, it would have made that situation a lot harder to play out as Emrys. Really nice ult from counter though. He didn't quite get the ER cancel. Maybe he could have got more people into the wall, but that doesn't matter. He still got 3 and he still gets the triple.
As the Baron gets taken here by Emrys, I just wanted to point something out in Twitch chat. Michael, aka Verstman, sent a message, Joe Gurr. And that got flagged by auto-moderation.
Nice.
Joe, as in J.
Call me Joe, who won game 1. Game 1 was won by Emrys. It was
Emrys. Yes.
I would say it was a pretty.
It was relatively even. It was kind of a 1 fight
game.
Yeah. Why did the auto mod?
Been 1 easier, but yeah.
The auto mod, Joe, guys, we can't say grr anymore. No growling in general. Please.
Yeah.
Why did that sound like the cartoon laugh like that?
You missed your flight earlier, Joe. Where was that between your penthouses? Like
on his private jet. What was there traffic on the runway?
I'm sorry to hear that though, Joe. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. You know what the golden rule with Baron is that I always like to think about? I like to choose 2 lanes, play between them, take over that jungle, and siege. Try and sink the waves, try and get the towers at the same time.
Yeah.
Bog standard League of Legends.
Well, currently they will do that by putting counter in mid lane. Then the rest of literally Southampton? I'm so sorry for you. if anyone's near Southampton and is a private jet pilot,
DM Joe ASAP.
Looking for pilot as Hazard's gonna get caught out here. The CC comes through. No combo breaker for you as Hazard's taken down. On the back line, it's gonna be Cortisol going out and about. Shy gets taken down and he's gonna be the 3rd from the Diamond 4 gamers who get taken down. And now the Orianna's in a spot of bother. That's gonna be Kennedy.
Oh no, Joe, that was tragic. 2 hours security. You know what I will say here? I think that Baron situation just completely blew the game open. I think it was looking really good for D4G. They were stacking Drakes.
Yeah,
They were
this might be
even on
game
gold
over.
with their comp. I think it is, to be honest. I think it is. Sion can't get back.
Hazard's disconnected. It's game over. The Nexus is open.
Emrys 2, D4G is 0.
Wow,
What
wow,
a start
wow.
to the split. A complete switch around from the side of Emrys after a pretty rough last split. They've redeemed themselves. Almost got half the wins they did the whole last split. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I do want to say, though, I think there were a lot of positives to take away from that game for D4G. I do think it's just that one Baron situation that kind of ruined the whole game for them. Other than that, I would have tipped them to win in the position that they're in. I think they outscale. Opposition don't really have an ADC or like an easy way to play fights. Sion's just going to outscale us in terms of being a frontliner. Yeah. Unfortunate happenings.
Now, I do not think it is all doom and gloom here for the D4G. I do think that it's game one. There's gonna be growing pains. There will be growing pains as I try and work out what on earth I'm currently doing. What am I doing?
GG everyone. Well played. Regardless of who won today, I think it was nice to get some UKL Div 2 action back. We've all missed it. We all think about it every night when we go to sleep.
Yeah, and of course, if I am not on the main UKEL cast, then I will obviously be trying to do as much of Div 2 as I possibly can. I think you guys don't get enough coverage, so I'm here to change that fact. What do you mean? What do you mean? Tinker prediction going well? What prediction? My prediction that Emrys would win. Yeah, I'm 1 for 1.
I was feeling a 1-1. I was feeling a 1-1. I can't lie. Before these games, I was thinking 1-1. But
part of me, I think this Emrys roster will make it to at least top 4. I think it's going to be a very.
Oh, that's a bold prediction.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it.
It's
day one. Well, no, I predicted this before it all started. I don't know if you guys have seen the community rankings for like the community tier list, but I was.
I'm not sure who the community were in that regard because I didn't hear about it.
No, so it was casters and analysts basically who put them all together. I very much tipped Emrys to be in that top 4 position. Everyone was happy to put them there. So that's my hot take for this season. That Emrys will go to the finals. Ots, don't be a chud.
I'm honestly not sure what order I'd put people in. I don't want to just be biased and pick my own team on myself or anything like that because I don't think like that. But I think in my head there's a top 4. I think it's myself's team, Team Spawn Pete. I think it's -1. I think it's Emrys, and for that 4th spot, I think you could put a few different teams maybe fighting for it. So on the tier list, I believe it puts Abyssal Randoms in the top 4 or something like that.
I believe that's correct. Yes, Abyssal Randoms. So, I won't like pull it all up on stream. I'll just like read out what it is. The tiers are finals, playoffs, limbo, which is basically not in relegation but not in playoffs, and then danger zone for the kind of bottom couple teams. Emrys -1, Abyssal Randoms, and Spawn Peak are the current playoffs and finals. Obviously, finals could only have 2 teams, and it looks like Emrys and -1 are tipped to be in the top. But as we are well aware, sorry,
I honestly don't think it's a bad prediction either. I think that I definitely consider -1 up there. I think Emrys are definitely in that top 3, top 4 category. Same with myself. My own team, rather. I shouldn't have said myself. It's not me versus 5 people, but you get where I'm coming from.
Well, it's you and 4 chuds. You know, sometimes you have Oku and 4 pigs. Sometimes it's you and 4 chuds.
Don't know. They don't know about the worst show. They have no idea.
#worst show.
#worst show.
Holy. Actually, let me try and find my exact tier list. Because I think mine
Is
is
this teams only? Because I prefer just thinking about teams, to be honest.
yeah, teams only, not like players.
Yeah, because I feel like players, it only really works if you've seen everyone. And I think even
I
people that have been
haven't.
here as long as I have, as long as some of the other players have, we've probably only seen 60% of people at most. You know, there might be some star Shaolin monk like Otter that comes in and sweeps the league. You know, there
Yeah.
might be someone that is expected to be amazing and is terrible. Who knows?
So I have a Word document, which is how I feel like this season is going to go. Okay?
Okay,
Let's see if I manifest it.
you should send me the screenshot in our chat as well. I'd be curious to see what you've got going on.
No, because that's bad luck. That's bad luck. Also, I don't know how. Right. So my predictions are. So I wrote down a prediction for each team, and why I think they will be where they are. So my predictions are actually identical to the community ones. Did they just use my tier list? Hang on a sec. I think they've just used my tier list. I think they've just uploaded mine and said the community made it.
I think the biggest question for me, if we can look at the community tier list, is about Abyssal
Community.
Randoms in general. Because I think that they've got some really good players, but predicting a top four from them straight out of open
So,
qualifiers, when if you think about it, they didn't even qualify through the original two spots that were there. Is
yep.
top four too high, too low? How are we feeling? How are we
So,
feeling?
in my Word document, because to give context, the community tier list in the biggest quotation marks is actually the same as my tier list. So Emrys, I have as a solid rebuild that I think will, through consistency, be able to make it through the playoffs and make it to the finals. -1, I have starting slow, as in possibly either some 0-2s or 1-1s as their rookies start to warm up. But once it gets to the playoffs, they have that kind of surge that we have seen that, but not -1, but TFG also have when they get to playoffs as well, if you remember.
I remember I was there. I
Yeah.
think the thing about to say about Minus is that they've got, in my opinion, two really star players on the roster in Rowan, Swag, as
Yeah.
you know him, and Mimic. I think Mimic especially is probably, if you look at the best player in each role from last split, the Dream Team, I think he's the only one that didn't get promoted. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's the best player in the world or anything like that, but I think he is a star
He has
player that
been
can make a
unbelievable.
massive impact. And with the new people they've got coming in, they're young. They've not got
Yep.
as much experience as other people, but I
Dog
think
Nappy
that they've got the
was
ability for sure.
Dog Nappy wants a Bulldog reserve. So will he be able to bring that? I think the unknown
It
is
was
Teddy.
absolved, I believe. It was absolved.
Absolved?
Yeah, the unknown is definitely Teddy in the
Oh,
nicest
absolved.
way, but I've played
But
against him before and I've seen him play, and there's always room to
I
grow. I think that's the most important thing to remember.
we didn't see the peak of Teddy in the monthly cup. Let's be completely realistic here. Teddy, it was his first time on stage. He's a rookie. He's brand new to this kind of scene. You're going to have some chud moments. You're going to run it down ever so slightly. But I think he has got plenty of time in this. Remember, obviously, the number of wins that you require before you can basically be confident in your playoff dreams is obviously it's going to change. It's not going to be set in stone just yet. It's just going to be about getting as many wins as possible. And I do think
Yeah,
-1 will begin to struggle. I do
I
think -1 will
honestly,
struggle.
the only thing I'll say in general that I think we did poorly last split that I hope they can rectify is that we went 1-1 against so many teams that were not as good as us in
Yeah.
general. I think that we went 11-7 overall. And whilst we did for fun the very, very last game, of course, because we'd already locked our position, I think that we could have probably got 14-4 or something like that if we just didn't quite get the 1-1s that were maybe a bit unfortunate. Or the main point what I'm trying to say is just closing out the 2-0s against teams that you know you're better than. I think that's an important quality for a team that are hoping to be champions.
Yoon, just to give a heads up, I have sent you a invite to Fuse's server, so that we'll be joining Domain Cast, who is another person who has just joined the UKEL Div 1 casting team, because it is Fuse Chi is his team. So yeah, so technically it's my team against his team. Obviously, I'm not the owner of -1. However, they are the team that
we both have investment in -1.
Yeah. Also, Shorty's playing,
like,
so
yeah, Shorty's someone that I want to cheer for as well. It's not like we suddenly have beef or anything, as much as it might look like it on Twitter. But I have a lot of love for the. I have a lot of love for the guys. I have a lot of love for the guys.
I think it will be a great game tonight. I think I'm expecting a lot of safe picks from -1. I don't think they're gonna go completely off the wall insane.
Can we get a score prediction pre-draft? Can we get a score prediction for tonight? Fuse Chi versus -1.
I think Fuse Chi 2-0.
Fuse Chi 2-0.
It's a very, very, very.
Ooh, that's controversial. That's controversial.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. I think it's a 2-0 for -1.
Okay, I can understand that. I think that what it's going to be, I think the games are going to be so close. I'm talking Absolved against -1 in the main monthly cup. Close. As in, it is one fight away, but -1 might just stumble. Now, I'd love to be proved wrong, but as we know, I'm the greatest analyst of all time, and I have never been incorrect. Especially not when it comes to D4G potentially coming back in Game 2.
Very real.
But I have got I have predicted -1 to start out slow. So it is entirely. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting. I'm just looking for some good games.
Interesting. I've played a lot of Div 2. I think this might be the most interesting split of Div 2 that we've seen. I think there's someone that I know really well on at least half the teams, so quite interesting to kind of almost every week play against someone that I like and know and get on with and talk to outside of League. Yeah, exciting times. I really want to get on with this -1 game soon. So what is the plan for that?
So I'm just talking with Domain now about what server we're going into. Okay. Well, we are going to quickly go for a break before -1 against Fuse Chi start. Don't worry, they're not going to start without their beloved casters, especially since one of them is actually their boss. So we'll go to a short break. In the meantime, me and Yoon and Domain are all going to jump into a call so that you have a trio cast for Fuse Chi against -1 coming up after this.
Oh, I had you there. I'm not doing another intro. That was already 2 hours ago. Welcome back. It's time to get ourselves started with a bit of a nice, quick Div 1 to Div 2 situation here. We do, in fact, have D4G versus none other but MinusOne in Division 2 UKEL. But that's not the end of it. This is an exciting day because I'm joined not by one, but two GOATs right now. We've got Tinker. Welcome. We've got
Hello.
Yoon. Welcome. How are we doing, lads?
So far, so good.
Doing great.
We're coming off
Doing
of the
great.
back of D4G versus Emrys, ended in an Emrys 2-0.
Yes.
But now let's
start.
you know what? Your roster against mine. Come on, let's go band for band, all right, Domain? Let's do this. Let's see what happens.
I'm ready, man. Let's get right into the draft because we ain't wasting no time. The draft has already started.
Okay,
Let's see
so
what we got.
specialities for -1, that Aatrox, that Katarina Teddy is very much a proficient Katarina. We have not been able to see him play it. Meanwhile, it seems to be we're taking away a couple of your mid laners. What do you have to say about that?
You are, yeah. So this is definitely a Barney quickly thinking about what he does best, right? And what he does best is he controls the entire mid portion of the map very well. And the only other thing I'm thinking about is a Talia. If they're going 3 for 3, however, for a Barney mid lane ban, that'd be crazy respect from -1. That won't be the case because the Seraphine will be targeting the bot side instead.
Yeah, well, speaking of Talia, we do have one of the most proficient Talias in the UK. Yoon is with us as well. He is still here, just a little bit quiet because there's two.
I am. I'm enjoying the show myself. I'm part of the audience and part of the broadcast today. It's a privilege, to be honest. But yeah, Talia is my favourite champion, so I would like to see Barney, who's as proficient as myself, I'd say, on it, bring it out today. Be very nice.
He's good.
Now,
he's good.
There's a chance for a -1.
Hmm.
Oh, not a massive fan of the Jhin. I would have expected Swag to pick up more of a Lucian in this type of situation. It will be the Jhin locked in, so that can steer us one way. It looks like it's not going to steer us that way today, as we are going to see Vi hovered here. Wait until that's locked in. I'm gonna hold my breath until that's locked in. For now, at least.
You thinking what I was thinking?
You are correct. You are correct. I'm thinking. Yeah, okay. Vi is locked in.
What are we thinking,
lads? There's no niddly. There's no niddly.
It was the niddly draft.
Right.
So,
okay.
In the last game
of
spring, in the last game of spring, -1 pulled out a composition while Yoon in mid. Yoon, what did you play? Did you play Talia that game? Or was it? No, it was Kiana.
I played Yoon. Or Kiana that game.
It was Kiana. It was Kiana. But it was this synergy of basically playing around Mimic's Nidalee, which was quite good. Unfortunately, they didn't end up winning that game. Bunch of chuds they are. Cassiopeia.
You know what? I don't. -1, and those curtain calls are going to hurt. So the only thing that's going to stop this vibe from getting that constant reset on the Volt Breaker in her face is going to be the miasma. So yeah, it's still going to have to deal with a lot of that brunt of the damage that's going to land, but quite mobile on the Ezreal at least. A few of those Mystic shots. What's going to be paired up with it? It's so far a hovered and then locked in Monkey King Wukong into that B3.
So Karma's the hover here for -1. I'm not particularly a fan of this because I think this doesn't really help the Jhin. So what is -1 cooking here? Because they're not playing for ADC and they're not playing for Mimic in the jungle, but they're definitely playing for someone. Are they relying on that R5 pick to potentially pick up something? Oh, Victor's going to be hovered.
Oh, is it the Victor? Because I got a nice, good old drafter bug coming my way. I've had this so many times today.
Victor's locked in. Victor is locked in. So, Yoon, you can tell us a little bit about this as the bands come through. What's the Victor into Cassiopeia matchup like? And who would you favour?
I think when you're playing into Cassia, there's very few champs mid lane that can kind of match her DPS. So you often have to opt for champions that can outrange her instead. The ones that come to mind are Hwei, Xerath, and obviously Victor with the Arcane Ray has the range to be able to poke the Cassio out without putting himself in danger. So I quite like the pickup from -1.
Shen banned away, so my heart sinks as Shen, probably one of my top 2 favourite champions, is taken away because they obviously don't want that number, with the Vi especially, with that seasoned assist. The Shen shield just completely negates it, so definitely a smart takeaway, but it hurts my heart.
Yeah, and I will say it would have been a nice pickup for the Cassiopeia because, again, she's a little bit immobile in that backline and there's a dive coming her way. So if you're getting rid of that Shen, at least that value's not quite there. But K'Sante, we're now leaning into that top side of the map here a little bit more. K'Sante is still yet to be really a great flex, it's a great blind pick at any point in the draft, but even at this point it won't be picked up. And then a lot of focus up in that top side for what seems like to be from both of these teams thus far. We yet to see any real follow-up engage, I will say, from really both of the teams. You've got that Wukong, you've got the Vi, right? So you don't really have much to go in with them two, and they will need some backup on that end. So I'm expecting maybe something like potentially a Rakan, a Rel. Is that something that -1 likes to dwelge into maybe sometimes?
I was gonna think about this with K'Sante gone. Ornn is the next best pick, but Gwen's still on the table, so this is quite dicey. However, FuseChi would then be reliant on the support pick for their entire engage if they do lock that Gwen, but that's Ornn locked in, and Nautilus is still open for Cody. So this is potentially going to be... Let's see what FuseChi pick up first. My thought process is that it's either going to be Gwen or it's going to be something a little bit more on the kind of boring side. Just go Sion into it and go... top lane doesn't exist this game.
Yeah,
we've got 3 seconds left.
I think you might have to. The Ambessa comes to mind. I'm just going to be locked in just to deny a little bit that aggressive engage from the Vi. I like it. Once you hit that black shield, the Vi's entire value is mitigated. Usually come to mind to counter this Vi that wants nothing out of her entire engage but to lock somebody down. But single target damage and lock is not going to be so easy with something like this. More makes sense. You've got a little bit more coming your way in that top side. I like it due to the fact that you're going into an Ornn, and the Ornn doesn't have the craziest of solo kill values. If you don't disrespect him, he does still do a lot of base damage. The Karma is being
this is where you be based. You send the Ornn support shorty style, and then you pick Warwick. Do it. Do it, Dog Nappy.
Wait, where's Warwick going? Top side?
Top lane.
Top lane. Warwick. Yeah. It's better in my opinion. It's not gonna happen. No, this is come on. This is officials. Everybody's serious, right? Karma going through.
Do you know who your support is? Do you know who your support is?
We do have a shorty.
Do you know who your support is? They've picked the Ornn. They've picked the Ornn so that Shorty couldn't pick the Ornn. That's what they've done here. That's why they've picked it up. I actually think that might be the reason. As we will be heading into game very shortly. It looks like I might potentially be getting.
Yeah, I may have not come across it. Oh, are we losing? Are we losing you, Tinker? It's all right. Shorty is not going to be on the Ornn because that definitely was denied. It's interesting to see an R5 Karma. R5 is usually something that you don't usually see at the very end, especially for a Karma, but it will be this time round. And it finishes off the comp quite nicely. You've got a nice boost of movement speed to get into that backline, but the Vi that really wants to get there, right? She's still going to be left by herself unless this Ornn can get into position much sooner.
Now, I think what you do if you're -1 here is you change this fight to be a little bit more on the defensive side of things. You know the Ambessa's going in with that public execution, so you can respond to that with the cease and desist and really deny the Ambessa a lot of movement in that backline. Lock her down, take her out, then the only frontline companion of FuseChi remaining is that Wukong. If -1 can play these team fights correctly, it's very difficult to take any of them down. Karma shields, Ornn in general, and then obviously with the range of Victor and Jhin, it's very hard to reach them on the backline. But if FuseChi get a good engage, it is lights out because Ornn, Karma do not have enough damage to be able to basically beat in just a straight up fist fight the members of FuseChi. So this is going to be an absolute banger, in my opinion.
It will be. A lot is coming our way. However, it's going to take a minute before anything comes -1's way because they do have a bit of a scaling comp, especially because this Vi will be playing more defensively down in the bot lane. Perhaps because of that Black Shield. The Black Shield value is actually very strong in this game. It denies the root from the Jhin. You've got the Vi. You've got the Karma Tether as well, which is one massive ability that you can just single-handedly deny. So yeah, it's going to have to be an interesting, very, very unique way of approaching this game for the Vi.
I do think the trouble with this Morgana pick is there is so much CC that you kind of have to time that Black Shield trigger perfectly. Otherwise, you just get overlapped with the incredible amount of CC that -1 currently have. The cease and desist, the deadly flourish from the Jhin, Ornn in general. Again, Ornn seems to be the kind of backbreaker for this -1 composition. And I know for a fact that it's a pick away from Shorty. And no one believes me. However,
I'm gonna have to see it before I believe it, man.
Has he never picked? Have you never seen him on Ornn? Have you never seen him on Ornn?
They might have been hiding
I actually haven't. So I'm not believing you, but I'm not believing it in an official. Maybe is it that good down in the bot lane? Right? I want to see it.
I don't think it is, but he is very much a dying by it, if you like. He really does swear in the confidence on the Ornn. You know, something with these drafts that really screams to me is that I think FuseG have to be on objectives first. I think it's very difficult for them to walk into Karma, Victor, Jhin, Poke. Whereas if they get on the objective first, the same problem kind of happens for -1. Other than the Ornn, it's kind of difficult for any of the others to walk in. So let's see who takes the proactive approach to the objectives this game.
Yes. I like the Zumbessa now that I think about it even more, because it actually replies into the Vi quite nicely. Obviously, it's not a point and click. You do still have to hit a nerfed public execution, which is a little bit slower on that initial, execution of it. But if you do connect with it, there's no real Black Shield to remove it away from something like a Jhin. You can deny the Jhin curtain call quite nicely as well if you get a nice flank coming your way. But again, it's a Karma. It's going to be difficult to maneuver your way around into the backline because of the value that this support provides. And again, the Ornn himself is the only real frontline peeling tank in this entire game. Everything else is just like bruiser heavy for FuseG.
Yeah, one thing to actually acknowledge as well is the Ambess is incredibly good into Jhin, like you said. Again, curtain call. You're forced to be stationary, and it's kind of obvious where you're sitting, so who needs to aim when there's a massive indicator? But another thing as well, this Morgana Q, if that lands, you can expect the Ambassador to go in on it. So this combo between Chocolate and Shorty is, I think, going to be the thing to watch here. While I do think that Barney is going to be probably one of FuseG's most standout performances on this roster across this season, I think this game in particular, we're going to get to see a nice bit of synergy between that top lane and support. Expect some roams from Shorty. It's going to be a very fun one to watch indeed.
Can't wait, man. Obviously, we got some roster changes, right? So we might as well just go into that because we're about a few more minutes away from getting into the actual game itself. We do, in fact, have a brand new FuseG roster in Summer Split. These guys have come around in the last 2 weeks, scrimming week maybe, so the synergy is yet to be really capitalized on. But Spring Split, we did see Jetopuff, we did see Barney, and they're the only two members that are going to be continuing onto the new Summer Split roster for FuseG in this current division as we speak. And then they're joined by Shorty, Robak, as well as Chocolate in the top lane. The main people I would be looking out for if you were considering those playmakers is in fact Robak, Barney. Huge playmakers, especially Robak. I'm really excited to see this AD carry on FuseG. And we are getting into the game, so how about we waste no more time and see where this game 1 in the 2-game series will take us.
And as I just try and figure out how on earth I do this, because I go to...
I think this should be alright watching.
There we go.
Yeah, good. Quite a heavy start. Only fighting for some wards in that middle brush in the bot lane, topside jungle. Barney gets a good few of those twin fangs onto the Victor for now. Ted won on the Victor. What can you tell us about Ted?
So, Teddy is actually not just the newest, but also the youngest member of this -1 roster. Came in at the tail end of the spring split, was present during the May Monthly Cup there for -1, as I'm just going to try and sort out some audio problems.
Nice one, nice one. So Barney is trying to fight for that level 2 quite aggressively, quite confidently. However, Teddy does get a decent trade off the back of it as well. Not much else to really write home about yet. Topside is going to be interesting as the level 2 does come through for Teddy. Topside is going to be interesting because you got an Ornn. He loves to stall anything that wants to snowball into the mid game, and Ambessa is exactly that, right?
Yeah, I'm honestly looking at this mid lane matchup and I'm thinking, I'm very surprised Cassio isn't using Deathfire Touch. It's kind of the thing of the month, if you know. It definitely helps in these early trades. Conqueror probably has a lot of value in the sustain and the fights later on, but I do think Deathfire Touch is a little bit more helpful to have there.
That's a nice dark binding, but it won't follow through with nothing else really, because still quite an aggressive start for something like a Jhin into a Ezreal. I will say Robak on the Ezreal, picking up one of the, I will say, strongest AD carries in the current meta. Not getting the best of values within that level 2 priority, and so will be shoved into that tower. Very slow approach from the bot lane, as opposed to maybe the games that you guys just witnessed, because for me, it was definitely a little bit different down in that bot lane. But in the mid lane, Barney is still taking quite a bit of heavy damage.
Yeah. Cody's binding there on the Karma will be blocked, but the Deadly Flourish connects onto Robak. So that's going to be a decent chunk of damage going down onto the ADC. -1, tickling, but not quite snapping anyone on Fuse Cheat just yet. But will they be able to confirm anything, as it looks like Chocolate going to be taking an extended trade against Dognappy here. Not going to be able to land the knock-up and not going to be able to proc the passive from the Bellows Breath. But Dognappy has been a very standout player on this sort of -1 roster reshuffle, indeed. So expect a lot of things from that top lane.
Are we having a fight for a scuttle here? There is a TP coming around and a nice Black Shield just to deny that route coming through. However, the Wukong will be grabbing himself his first scuttle, so that won't be denied. No double scuttles coming nobody's way at this point in the game. However, it was looking interesting, especially with the Victor TP. That won't be resulting in a skirmish either. It's just for the most part a bit of Twin Fangs coming Teddy's way, trying to avoid that poisonous trail there, so to say. He's doing all right. He's doing all right into a heavy trading, very short range, I will say, Barney. And that's the one thing that this team comp really has going for itself, is that everybody's quite short range, aside from maybe a few of those Mystic bindings, as well as the Dark binding. Hold on, did I just combine Mystic Shot with a Dark? I feel like I did. That is a nice little synergy there. That's
I like
exactly what Robak.
I
like it.
Yeah.
We might have to say it a few more times.
Yeah, fuse it
together.
together.
Royalties if they ever use it on a champion.
I'm going to coin that one. Barney does return a decent trade. Again, they're getting low, and I'm just itching for that game.
It's great to see.
Yeah, it is. But a full clear coming out from the junglers really is what it's going to be spelling out for us. Level 6 is really where it's at. Another laser connects. This time around, you've got Jetopov coming through to that mid lane brush. But a very good positioning from Ted just to respect it. He's actually had a deep ward in that position, so he'll be absolutely fine for now.
Health bars across the board. Again, it's this just kind of little bit of slapping, not enough punching. Level 6 does come out for Dognappy, though, so expect him to get a little bit more on the aggressive side. On this Ornn, he has proved that he is very much not to be strifled with. Bellows Breath come through, the auto attack will not connect.
We're getting a little bit of a lane lead for the side of -1 as well. Every member is ahead between 50 and 300 gold at the moment. The most noticeable CS lead is in that mid lane at the moment. Obviously, Victor, a very favourable matchup into the Cassio, especially early game. It's nice to see him using that range advantage.
Keep your eyes on that
mini
map.
Good range.
We will see Mimic posturing around that top side brush in mid lane. Might be looking just for the Scuttle Crab, but maybe hunting for a little bit of Snake. I'm not sure how Reptile tastes this time of year, but
he is. Yeah, he's going to be waiting for that Scuttlecraft to spawn, but because he's lost the vision in that brush, now the Wukong has a little bit more of an entrance. Warrior Trickster flashing
Jennifer stole
by
it!
the way, to take the Scuttle. He will be able to take it, but the cost of a flash. That's quite a committed play. Now they're going to be going off the back of it, continuing this momentum onto Dognappy, who is still an on. Half HP is half HP, so maybe perhaps it could be turning around for Chocolate in about 2 minutes or so. But for now, it's a flashless Wukong.
Yeah, and that Orna's is already building the Chain Vest and has got the Doran's Helm. So the combination of these two, AD, top, and jungler, it's not going to be doing all too much damage to him. But at the moment, we'll actually see Robak take a decent chunk of damage here, but it's going to be the root coming through onto Cody. Robak drops very low. Swag's coming in. 4th shot primed and loaded. Deadly Flourish will not be able to land, and the Q does not connect either.
Oh, but the curtain call is being called, and actually, if he hits
one,
it just might not be enough. 4th shot will finish the job. First blood, despite the first 2 missing, will still be picked up by Swag.
And that's the kind of pressure we were talking about, getting Shorty and Robak into a position where it was just enough to be able to get the follow through from that curtain call. It's lights out for Shorty as he is the first blood claimed by Swag.
That's a decent position to put yourself, especially off the back of such a quick level 6. Nobody else could match it, not even Dunny Dumpster, the dump truck. Do you know what? I was reading the name as it was just slowly making its way down the list.
Wait, I just realised.
Dumpster. I was improvising, all right? I had to say something. Dunny Dump Truck, not Dumpster.
Cody is simpler.
Level 6. We'll call him Cody.
Just call him Cody.
As well.
Also, you're not waiting for an advertisement to come past. Oh well.
Oh man, Vi's been caught out a little bit in that Dragon Fifth, but it's not going to be something that she's going to be too worried about, because actually the entire pressure is going to switch sides into the mid lane now, because Ted is very low. He won't have any tempo or priority to turn around into the dragon fight, which is very much so on the way. Mimic is very much so being engaged on as we speak. Seismic shove. It's not quite going to be doing much there, as the dragon is now being initiated on. Instead, that's going to be a nice steal off the back of that one, even though that's a flash. Miasma, however, not much else follow-up. A little bit too aggressive on that one. Nice route. Mimek did get that Dark Binding hitting him as well. I said Seismic Shove. I just realized there's no Talia in this game, as much as I wished there would be. It's still going to be a nice turnaround for Fushi.
Yeah, not a bad Drake take there. We saw before that actually commenced, Shorty moved up into mid lane to guarantee that Barney could move down and Teddy couldn't. So that means that they have the numbers advantage, and it's an easy kind of fight win there for Chi.
Oh, that does connect. You've got Cody coming around, and it may be retaliated on. Soul Shuckles, however, no flash until it was being
Shorty's in
used.
trouble.
Shorty's getting very low to attack away from dying. Jetsopath was thinking about going in, but
Swag!
Downtown gets the kill as well. Swag is now 2 kills on board.
Swag with the deadly flourish sends Shorty to the grave for the 2nd time this game. And if you're Shorty, you're kind of just looking at your screen like, what am I meant to do? But I might have to interrupt myself, as Teddy and Barney are going to be trading. This ain't quite Barney the dinosaur just yet, but this definitely ain't a teddy bear torches! The petrifying gaze. Teddy with the fancy feet.
Really using those full boots, those 2nd-tier boots to dodge out every ability. I'm really liking how Teddy's playing this lane so far. Fair play to him. It always makes me laugh a little bit when you see a Jhin miss the easier ult shots and hit the absolute snipes. It's very funny.
Yeah, those snipes are starting to stack up, man. So we've got Mimic on a start on the Void Grubs as we speak, but it's not going to be without some sort of a retaliation of it. And, you know, Wukong's just going to be about. Jetsopath would be happy enough just to pick up the 1. However, the 2 is where that real passive really does matter. So a nice little pickup on the objective for the side of -1. However, because of that roam into the top side, Robak, he's going to have to use the Arcane Shift. Nice tether, and it's going to be followed through by 1-2, flashing away from the final
Cody's in trouble.
couple as we speak. Now, Danny is certainly going to have to somehow maneuver his way around the tower, but because he's got the minions and Swag by his side, he's going to be able to get out just fine.
I do think that might potentially be a misplay by Robak. Jin only has the BF sword in the way of damage, so I think he can go a little bit more aggressive, just have better hands and take down that Karma, because you need a kill in this situation. You're down 1.1 thousand gold. This Jin has not backed since that fight happened where he got the second kill on Shorty. He almost definitely has that Storm Razor, which it looks like he's building first. Try and get as much as you can before that Jin gets that first item spike, because meanwhile, we are going to see a fight here in the mid lane. Teddy's going to be able to take the damage advantage, but it's going to be quickly returned here by Barney. Those Twin Fangs come in a little bit too hot. Flash over the wall. It's going to be the Cyclone going on, and it's Teddy going down. Monkey see, monkey do. Now Mimic is going to be here, not opting to continue the fight, and that's going to be Teddy's first death of the game. He's been playing quite well. Still has a gold lead, thanks to that farm, but ever so slightly overconfident for the -1 mid laner.
Still forces that flash. Ted is now all of a sudden a much bigger target, and the target on his back has definitely increased off the back of that play. He goes down. It's the worst feeling ever when you actually commit to that flash and then you go down anyway, especially on something like a control mage. Doesn't have many ways of getting out of those ganks into, one, the Wukong, two, Barney's constant just pressure as this Cassiopeia looking for that trade in the long brush that Teddy did walk into down in the bot lane. That was an aggressive arcane shift onto Swag, but he's still got the karma value to just send him away from any danger.
I want to see if they can use this window where the Victor has no flash to really punish him for that, because if he gets flash back up without getting punished, it does feel like a missed opportunity there, a missed chance for PSG to get back into the game.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those right now that have been going over to -1. All of those opportunities have now stacked up a nice 1.6k gold lead, and pretty much all of it is just on Swag. He is having a very good start in this game as we speak. The Vi is deep into the jungle of Fuse Chi as Barney once again going in quite aggressively, but it won't be resulting in a kill this time around despite no flash on the Victor. Shorty having to use his own black shield due to the value of, one, the Jin's root, and two, his snipes have been flawless.
Now, Yoon, obviously, for most champions, you like to build full-on damage, but a champion which I'd like to question is Cassiopeia. What do you think is the kind of the path build here for this Cassiopeia in this game?
So Barney's opting for a very traditional Cassiopeia build, which I don't think is necessarily bad. I just have my personal preference as what I like to build. So I've been liking the Black Fire Torch into Rylai's or into Leandra's based on the game build lately. It's a bit more damage. It's also quite nice early. You don't have to stack the rower to be relevant. You can kind of get ahead earlier, if that makes sense. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with the build it's doing, though. It's definitely more stable than what I've been doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of, still good ways of thinking about where your build is going to take you. The itemization is very early on into this game, 14 minutes as we speak. However, we've got a few good pickups, at least in the top side right now. The Eclipse makes sense, of course, for the Ambessa. Good max HP damage into something like an Ornn as well, so that's just going to double her value off the back of it. Sundered Sky, a little bit quicker, but then Triforce already also available. Hold on a minute, pause that fort. That's going to be a Black Shield. Root also not quite going to get that stun value out of any of those. TP is coming around, and this is going to be a little bit of a deep one as Barney's now being Volbreaked onto. Seasoned Assist. Good Petrifying Gaze to really stop anything else coming his way, but a Call of the Curtain is coming his way as we speak. Barney's very low. There's the fourth shot coming in at the perfect time. The binding doesn't quite connect. Ted has also arrived. Jetopuff is on the back foot, but they're going to be just tower dove here because there's nowhere else to run but into a dark binding. That's going to be a root connected onto none other but Shorty, who's going to be removed with the bouncing grenade. Jetopuff does get an amazing Cyclone to somehow turn this one around. A double kill for Robak, but it's not quite done yet. Flashing in from Danny Dump Truck himself. Not going to have the value to perhaps chase that, but the tether does connect. The root also, and there's a fourth shot coming Swag's way onto Robak.
Robak goes way in on that play, and it's overcommitment. Desperate to get one of these kills, ends up finding himself on the opposite side of the fountain. As now, this is a 5-0-0 Jin, which I think you have to be terrified of if you are Fuse Chi.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. Again, this time around, the 2,000 gold, that's not just his play. Public execution does connect, and it will be flashed away from, and the cavalry has arrived. Can he get his value? No, he cannot. That's an amazing turnaround. Not even the Trusha Barrage will be connected onto that one, as Dog Nappy is going to be absolutely fine.
I'm going to see a little bit of a regressive fight here. It's going to be Cody caught up a little bit. The Cursed Shackles aren't going to be able to land there from Shorty. And that's the Black Shield gone as well, actually. So this might potentially be a very good engage here for -1. It's going to be following all the way through. Look at the damage from Teddy right now. Has got the Blackfire Torch, so that damage will be stacking as well. But to talk on that fight in the bot side, it was initiated by Fuse-Chi. Barney in that bush sending in. They weren't aware of Mimic being in that bush at the time. Completely locks down the Cassiopeia. Yes, the Petrifying Gaze does stop that Vi damage from coming through, but Barney gets too low too quick. Ends up giving Swag another one of these kills, who now has the Infinity Edge in his back pocket. He's only got tier 1 boots! Come on! He's got like the flip-flops that you buy from Asda when you forgot to take them on holiday. But all of a sudden he's got 2 swords.
That sounded like a personal story there.
Don't know what you mean.
Are we reflecting, projecting here a little bit? But that's all right. Listen, there's another booties, another one that's been picked up, and it's actually going to be the Gluttonous Boots for Robak, which I don't know if... Do you know what? I like the Gluttonous Boots, and they do a lot of good damage, and they heal up quite nicely as well, but eventually in the game, they lose their value, and you are going into a late team comp. So actually, now that I'm putting out this argument, you want to get the most out of your team comp as you can for Fuse-Chi, because there is an on, there is a bit of a timer for these ornaments to eventually start be given a little bit too much of value that Fuse-Chi cannot afford to give over, and that's still to come our way. Swag is certainly at the top of his position within this game, and because of this, a lot of that tempo that he's been able to secure himself alongside the Vi, the Karma, will secure them another tower, and that's going to be in the mid lane.
Yeah, and just to highlight those boots as well, I do think it is a recency bias. I'm not a fan of these new boots on a lot of champions. I think you do miss out on a lot of utility. Kind of like what we were talking about with the Doran's helm in the last game, where the recency bias is really what's making them popular. I do think that we will get to a point where it kind of plateaus. Because especially with the Ezreal with Conqueror, you'd think that he'd have the healing that he'd need. But at the end of the day, I'm the chud in the chair. They're the ones playing the game. So we'll have to wait and see if I improve drawing. There is a TP coming through here for Chocolata.
Comes around. It won't be getting any value out of. That's a Cyclone going into the backline. However, Jetto
Public execution miss.
Damage to follow through. Nice call of the Forge God. That's going to do a lot of damage from the Curtain Call. He's just waiting for the 4th shot. That's going to hit onto Robak. However, the turnaround is going to be hitting onto Vi. She's not been taken down. Chocolata doesn't really get much value. That's a smack from Swag onto Robak again. Petrifying Gaze as a defensive ability to remove himself from what seemed like a great way to disengage. It's not going to happen. Chocolata, the last one to join, is the last one to potentially go down.
And I'm not being funny, but Barney is probably looking at his keyboard like, what can I do? As Cody, with the McHales, completely eliminates the Petrifying Gaze. I would be infuriated if I'm Barney right now, because you played everything great. You managed to get disengaged, your flash has just come off cooldown, and this Karma has built a McHale's Blessing for your Jhin, who now has an upgraded Infinity Edge, -1 at 20 minutes in, and the Baron spawning 2 Drakes to 1, and currently have the massive advantage in this game.
That's the 5k gold lead, and the ornaments are starting to come through. Remember, each one gives about 1,000 gold worth of stats on top of the item's stats it already has.
No, they're not. They're surely not going to just do this.
I mean, they might as well. 20-minute Baron is the least tanky one. You don't really care how much of that damage that's coming your way, but you still have to consider what Fuse-Chi has backed themselves, has in their pockets, really. So they're not going to be thinking about it just yet, but they are sort of pushing the idea, and Fuse Team needs to start thinking about it as a mantra Q steals the blue buff. The TP is going to come off the back of it to avenge that steal. Jetto Puff with a black shield going in, flashing away from the public execution. Now all of a sudden Danny's in trouble. However, the nice knockup from the soaring charge, as well as everybody else is going to be going right onto Chocolate. Dumbstruck is still alive as we speak. Cyclone is going to do a lot of knockups, but not really much value out of it again. Shorty having to flash away from the root, and there's the curtain call. Once again, Swag has been untouched in this entire team fight, and he's yet to really show his true potential. In the end, it will be a 2-for-1 again for MinusOne Esports.
Swag not quite able to unleash the full power of the Jhin, as if he gets anywhere too close, he will be caught out, and the rest of the MinusOne squad, their health bars aren't high enough to be able to back him up if he's in that position, so it's going to have to be all hands back to base for now. So no Baron will be taken, but that Drake is slowly approaching, currently 2 minutes 48 seconds as of me speaking. So who is really favoured? Yoon, I'm going to turn this to you. Who do you think is really favoured for this Baron situation?
Can you take a wild guess? I think it might be the team that's 5,000 gold ahead, to be honest. I think the game is starting to hit the crux where I think the game is really getting away from Fuse G. I don't think it's a dead set loss yet, but I think something needs to change in the next few minutes. If MinusOne can get a Baron and start to break the base, you do feel like we're going to another game after this.
Yeah, and the biggest real consequence off the back of the last team fight is that you've had a few summoner spells, really, that were committed, but by many members, for the most part, on MinusOne, 3 of them down. However, Swag is still holding on to his, and so is Ted. Jetto Puff doesn't have his, but he has the Cyclone. Again, going in with Robak's side, maybe a little bit more damage than he could handle. Mimek is going to go in, flashing over the wall just to deny that Vault Breaker, and it will remove Robak as well.
75% crit, by the way. And he manages to land it. Swag and Teddy are really linking up, and it looks like might be the worst analyst ever for predicting that MinusOne would potentially even go to 0-0, 0-2 in this game. So, but you know what?
Record,
I picked them to...
I said 2-0. On the record,
yeah, Yoon did say 2-0. I thought there'd be more growing pains. I did not think that they would be able to come into this game. Now, granted, it has not been flawless. I do think a lot of this success has come off of the back of Swag as, Dog Nappy, very low public execution, going to take him underneath the turret. Chocolate is going to auto-attack the turret. Oh, does it make it? No, it does not lead to his own demise. It's very close. Kind of just like egoing to auto-attack the turret there. It might have been a little bit of BM, but it's going to be a decent solo kill there for Chocolate. Dog Nappy gets caught out. He wanted
he wanted just a little bit more than just a measly Ornn kill, because really, what is it at this point for an ambassador to grab herself her first ever kill into the game? 7,000 gold down as a team. MinusOne, you've spoken about this. The ornaments, they're starting to roll in. There's a good investment being punched through these tickets for everybody one by one, but only the one member so far has been prioritized, and of course that's going to be Swag. He's got himself the Infinity Edge. It's going to be a lot of damage.
He's just walking up to the Ezreal and auto-attacking him, and that's one auto-attack. Robak's health bar, he has been touched by Jhin once. This Ezreal cannot get anywhere nearby. That wasn't even a 4th shot as well. I've just realised it wasn't a 4th shot. That was just a regular auto attack. However, yes, the Jhin is quite fed, but this Victor, 10 stack Dark Seal, can he potentially be a difference maker in this -1 game? Will we potentially see Swag chud it up as he usually does? The insane Swag combo of flash backwards into ult the wrong way. We've seen it in the past. Will we see?
He's never going to get away from it. He
is never allowed to forget that moment.
I will say one thing. Seasoned Assist and Chocolate will be walking away. Vault Breaker does connect. Public Execution does not. He will be removed. That's a 4th shot. Still waiting to be casted, as Robak was looking for a 1v3, but he won't be able to do so. There was a bit of a decision off the back of that, as Jetto Puff and Barney were pushing in the top side. But into MinusOne, who were 5 men on a Baron buff, pushing into the bot side of Fuse.
Yoon, judging by this, I'm guessing they're going to be able to end the game here, but 40 seconds left on this Baron buff. Can Fuse stall out for long enough? They do have the Cyclone coming in. It's going to be Swag going very low. It's going to be shut down. That's the money going into the pocket of Jettopuff, who will go down, but Barney now on the backside is going to be able to pick up the kill on Mimic there. Dognappy drops low from the turret shot, but now -1 are going to have to back away. They've overstayed their welcome, and this hotel is closed for business.
TP is coming through from the Casio, trying to cut them off, stop the escape. She's walked a bit too close, though.
Oh, it's not going to be able to get any kind of responding kill. Very nice TP there idea from... no, Barney did not. He didn't die.
Oh, he didn't die. I was about to say, there's no way he was just deleted almost within those 2 seconds. Right. That is close to what seemed like the game over. It's not quite happened yet, and the next dragon is up for grabs. I don't think that's going to be really the biggest of issues that FuseG has coming their way now, because there are super minions down in the bot lane, and you could argue the fact that, the dragon bot lane very close to each other, so at least they may be able to pivot into the bot side super minion rush, but the dragon will be just given over by -1 here instead.
I think -1 witness, and they realize that they do have the potential to just overload the base, get these potential last couple of turrets, get a nice influx of gold. This Jhin is now 4 items, so there is really no stopping him unless you have to fully lock down this Jhin. If he is still alive, you are losing this fight, as now Magi's is picked up here for Teddy. Is it a curse? Is it a blessing? He will be able to dodge that Dark Binding. Get some damage onto Chocolate, but it's not going to be enough all included. But 5 members of -1 against 5 members of FuseG. Can the fusion come to life, or will this just be one more one on the docket for -1? They are going to have to back off now, as the pressure from FuseG amounts to be too much. So that is not going to be that third turret in top lane taken away.
We're not playing 2 lanes at the moment. I think without Baron, they do have the wave clear to match on 1 wave. You really need to be playing mid as well here. And it seems Ornn is going to go pick that wave up now.
It's kind of like running your head into a drywall.
On the money with that one, Yoon, because it's all about the pick. Who's going to face the brunt of either one dive, which is the season desist, or the public execution, because that is the value out of both of the team fights. The initial starts, that's going to be a denial of that Dark Binding there. However, that's already a big cooldown that you don't have with you. The mid-kill is not available for now.
And crucially, this Jhin does not have flash for another 60 seconds, so if FuseG are going to pull the trigger, it needs to be now. Chocolate is going to be taking a very close proximity to that front line of -1. Now, interestingly, they have sent the Ornn into mid lane, so that front line tankiness is no longer there. Trade-off is that Teddy, Dognappy can very much hold his own on the side lane, but I think maybe you'd get a little bit more by sending Teddy into mid. Yes, it's slightly more risky with the fact that he is a little bit squishy, but he's got the flash, he's got the proto belt. I think you could have potentially sent him mid and gotten 2 turrets for the price of 1, but -1 still come away with an absolute victory. Yoon, what are your thoughts?
I see where you're coming from. I think they missed out the opportunity to maybe get it before this Baron spawned, purely because they didn't get that mid wave early enough. I think that it's okay to have the Victor mid, but you're a little conscious of maybe the Wukong and Ambessa teaming up for him. I'd maybe position the Ornn there just to push wave. You've got decent wave clear, and you can threaten the ult from a distance.
Well, we do have a Baron fight coming our way. Jettopuff is very much hovering there. It's going to be a public execution on the side. It is going to be able to catch Teddy, and Jettopuff is going to go into the pit here. He's going to fall before the Baron goes down, so that's going to be a -1 Baron taken away. Here comes the call to the Forge God. It isn't going to be able to connect onto anyone as Barney moves his snake tail back. Petrifying Gaze is going to be able to land into 3. Swag goes low, and Bessa goes into middle. It's going to be a massive shield coming out from Cody, but it's going to be a slam down. Mimic goes into the GA in the backline. There's going to be Chocolate and Dognappy on the side, being able to fight 1v1. Teddy is the last of the damage remaining. Chocolate might be traded for this. He will indeed. So it is 3 against 3. The mid-bot duo of FuseG against the top mid support of -1. Swag ends up being caught out. The Karma Shields aren't enough, and he ends up going down. That might be a huge shutdown going the way of Chocolate in the end, who now is on that second item spike. I mean, everyone else seems to be a little bit in a little bit more money especially if you're Swag at the moment, because he is on his 4th, going on his 5th, which will be the Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is he can only buy 2 components. Oh, hang on a second, we might see Jettopuff go a little bit aggressive. No Cyclone available, so no lockdown there.
Wasn't quite to get anything out of that engage, really. The Flash is now going to be on cooldown. That's a very big ability not to have available, but so is it for Swag. And Swag was actually taken out off the back of the last team fight. That's why it was such a square even fight in the end. And it was the best thing that Fuse Chi could have had coming their way, really, because without that fight going as close as it went, the inhibitors, they're still not really down there for yourself in the bot lane. So the super minions were shoving into that base, but they were able to get those recalls. They were able to stop that shove from the minions at least, but it's still an open base. 1 minute and a half for quite a few of these cooldowns, especially for Swag. That's a massive cooldown. However, last time round, we saw Swag having no flash. Nobody really initiated that play. Mikhail was also taken down, and this time round, the Karma has got it back on.
-1, we saw it in the monthly cup in May. They were struggling to close out these games. It's going to be an absolute beautiful Cyclone come through here for Jettopuff. It's going to be followed up with the opposing execution there, as it's going to be the Wukong dropping low. Mimic picks up that first kill, and now Swag is firing on all cylinders. Here comes the curtain call, and it's lights out. Make your bows as Shorty is taken out. It's going to be on the side. It's going to be Dognappy against Chocolate. Flashes over the wall. He's going to be trying to go in with the Bellows Breath, as now the Cassiopeia. No petrifying gaze. We are not caught by your looks here today. Chocolate going to be dropping very low as well, as it's just Roback against 5 full Titans of -1. The Ezreal drops low as that second Nexus turret falls, and -1 will take game number... Okay, right, guys. Really?
Wow. Yeah,
really?
I just wanted a little bit more of that action. Even despite we saw so many fights off the back of that 33-minute game, 1 fight at a time, 1 brick at a time. Rome wasn't built in a single day, but it will certainly go down as such, as the victory will be coming -1's way in a very dominable fashion. I will say that it was a bit of a back and forth at some point, sure, but it certainly didn't come off the back of quite a very impressive early game all the way through to the very end in that bot lane and really everywhere else. I got Sovnix on the screen, and that's not true.
Hello, me and Yoon combined together makes 1 Sovnix. That's just the nature of it.
We do the Dragon Ball pose, and we combine.
That is one picture in my head now. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that entire game was sort of headed one direction only. I didn't really see the best of turnarounds at any point. It was so difficult for Fuse Chi to actually find that pick at any point. Oftentimes, it seemed like a great angle for Jettopuff, but it just didn't have that backup that he was kind of hoping for. And I don't know where really it went wrong initially, but that was the story of those engages.
Well, I feel where it kind of fell flat was the whole game plan. It was having this Jhin go into the curtain call, then have the Ambessa absolutely send it on him. But Swag never curtain called. I'm not being funny, but he got too far ahead too early to even need the ultimate ability. And every time he used it, it was basically cleanup crew. So, I mean, the draft there from Fuse Chi, very, very pleasant to watch. And if it had gone the right way, I think if Swag hadn't got the advantage that he did, it plays out completely differently. We saw -1, they were struggling in that mid game. They weren't quite as able to close it out as much as we would expect from a team that was this far ahead. But they do end up with the win in game 1. As Domain.
Very clean.
We need to ask the resident expert in the room, Yoon, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a very loose usage of expert for sure. I think that -1 have the advantage in bot lane and mid lane, and they definitely use the advantage in the isolated lanes. I'd say that the early skirmishes not going in the favor of Fuse Chi when you would kind of hope they would with the sort of comp that they're opting for kind of makes the game run away from you, and the fact that they just had dragons stacked up against them, the gold lead stacked up against them, the errors from -1 started to not matter at that point. If they were a few thousand gold up and they did the throw that they did at Baron, maybe there's a game still going on right now. Maybe we're still talking about it. Maybe the next Baron would be FuseG's, but we'd never know.
Yeah, it was a tough one because even like you just mentioned, when the dragons were dropped by -1 and they didn't even commit into pushing onto that next objective, you already know at that point if you're FuseG, there's a bigger factor at play here. You can't really ignore what's coming your way, and that was the top side. It was these towers. They're not going to respawn. The dragons do. If you miss out on one, you're going to be absolutely fine. -1 esports seems to be at a very good angle going into game 2 right now, because not only have they picked themselves up the first win, but they did it in a very good, very superb fashion off the back of that game 1. And a lot of it came from the back of Swag's Jhin, and such a great angle for him to get the support that he was getting from Cody on the Karma. Not Dumpster. Then you obviously had so much more coming from Teddy as well, who was just sort of able to survive a lot of these big engages coming out from the Cassiopeia, from Barney himself, who was doing quite a decent back and forth laning phase for himself throughout that entire laning phase until some dragon fights. But again, there was just a little bit more coming his way.
Just awaiting on the commencing of the second draft here. Just as a reminder for the UK EL Div 2 format, both of these games are played as best of ones, which means that Fearless is not in play, and both teams swap sides. There is no side selection. Both teams will play on either side each game.
Yes. I do miss the Fearless, but we still, sorry, Yoon, we do get to see it in those playoffs. Eventually. Sorry, brother. Cutting you off there, as you were saying.
Oh, it's okay. I was just about to ask you both, actually, what you'd like to see change from the side of FuseG in draft this next game. Do you think they should try a different style? Do you think the style that they drafted in the first game was hindering a little bit? Like, what are your thoughts in general?
Yeah, so I do like the idea of putting Chocolate on something that's a nice snowball carry, something that has a little bit of that movement, that engage, that allows for FuseG to enable the carries to follow off the back of it. I think it really didn't come down to the draft as much as it did the idea behind it. It's so important to connect those domino pieces together, and for them to fall in that manner, you're going to have to sort of go from draft to stage in a more synergized way. So I do want to see a little bit more from perhaps the follow-ups. No, I would say Jetopath finding the right angles, but not quite having the right follow-up because of maybe being a little bit too far ahead, maybe not quite synergizing off the back of that end. We'll see exactly where that really will take us. But yeah, it was so difficult for them to grab onto the Jhin. Like you've mentioned, Tinker, it's literally a Jhin who's holding onto the curtain call after the Cyclone was used twice. Many times Jetopath went down after, and then the curtain call is literally just closing the stage off with the spotlight and, you know, just bowing down and having everybody else think about what they've done. That is really how that game went. So yeah, a little bit more follow-up on that engage would be good.
Just getting the draft sorted.
Oh yes. So the interesting part, obviously, yes. The what? Sorry.
I was just asking if we've seen the other results from today's Div 2 games, because a team that a lot of people didn't expect to be doing that well went 2-0 today, obviously picking up Hido in the bot lanes, winners played in the LEC, the highest of highs in Europe.
Yeah. I don't actually know much. I know. You had those games coming out from, I know that you've covered the Diamond 4 Gamers versus Emrys, right? So that Tinker, that was a 2-0. I haven't seen anything else, if I'm being honest. Not yet. I haven't. So I am looking forward to seeing those. I'm also looking forward to seeing the next draft here, though. Again, because this isn't a Fearless, we're going to probably see a lot of that value of the Ezreal B1s. The Wukongs are definitely very strong right now as well. But that's going to come our way in a couple of minutes or so. I'm going to put us on a brief break and find out exactly where that next draft is going to go. So don't go nowhere, and we'll be back with another banger. I do have to run to the loo, gents. I'll be just...
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're into the draft. -1 on the left hand side of your screen. I've already picked up the Karma. Bands look identical. Outside of a Nautilus band coming through, instead of what was that original band? Oh, it's still going to be Orianna Ezreal, so Fuse Chi. Not making any changes so far.
There it is. The Orianna itself, I do like the value of that champ going in from Barney because it does give you a lot of that. Just holding on to the ability in itself, not even using it, is a scary factor.
Are we doing this again? Are we doing this again?
Might be. It's that same game. We've only had one different pick so far.
And it was a ban.
They run. Okay. So the big question for Fuse Chi is: do you deny those picks that you've seen from the last game? Do you deny the Ornn? Do you deny the jungle pressure? Or do you just go for your own, your own broth here? Do you cook your own dinner up, right? You don't think about what's being thrown at you for as long as you match it well.
Okay, crucially, I just remembered that the Orianna was actually banned in game 1, so we do have
it was
something unique. I was getting confused with the Emrys game.
It was
2.
the Seraphine, Orianna, and Annie
Seraphine.
banned away. So 2 of those actually get picked up right now on Fuse Chi.
Also, VODs will be on, but because of the way my Twitch works, it will be published after this game finishes. I can't do it while I'm still streaming. I don't know why. I don't have a clue. But they will be up by the end of tonight.
Do you publish them yourself manually?
Yeah, I just.
You have to go into the settings, and then you can enable them to be. You can watch the game back as you're live, or you don't have to publish them manually. It's like a setting in Twitch somewhere. I can show you later, brother.
I'll try and sort that out for next.
No. Yeah, so we're just going through. The Vi is being taken away by -1, and despite them picking that up last time round, I guess it would be a very nice pick into this Jhin. Again, he doesn't want anything to be going too heavy into the back. But the Ambessa does that as well. And did it really do what it had to do last game for the side of Fuchs-Chi? No, it did not. So the Ambessa is still up for Fuchs-Chi to be grabbed up, but is it going to get its value out this time round? I do think the Encore with the Seraphine has a little bit more of that synergy if it does end up being picked up.
I'm a little bit more anxious about the Nocturne getting banned away. And that's an Ornn locked in straight away.
Instant.
Right, okay. So we are going to get an exact copy of the -1 roster, but we've seen this before. Dog Napiers are very happy to play this matchup. Doesn't have the Aatrox.
We know Shorty is begging to play the Ornn right now. He's saying, Seraphine top, I heard it's broken. Go play it right now. Give me that Ornn.
I think it might be a Volibear. Come on, pick the Volibear. Come on, no Scion. No Scion. Locked Volibear.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking, I'd
Charge.
say, right?
Charge!
There it is. You got the sign. It makes sense. You got some sort of value behind that front line dealing with the Ornn, which
it makes
isn't
sense,
something
but I
that
want to
has.
see something fun. Right. Now, looking very
That
much
there?
to be... This is a very, very... This is kind of a beige comp from -1. It feels quite beige.
Back to back as well, so a little bit more to that beige sort of factor there, right? So that's gonna be a Zinzao locked in. It's just been hovered. Just something. You wanted something exciting here, Tinker. Okay, it's been hovered. Doesn't mean it's gonna get locked in. You got your wishful halfway granted. Wish halfway granted for now. And we are missing some sort of delivery behind the Orianna, and that's really the main value of that R5 right now for Fuchs-Chi. Something that connects the dots that they have, so to say, put themselves in that line within, and a Shyvana will be locked in instead.
I was kind of thinking that they might go for the Fury ball delivery, something that you see a fair bit in LCK and in LCS at the moment. Quite a reliable partnership.
Someone get Amalia in here because there is a Shyvana on my screen. Haven't seen this in the UK EL yet, so let's hope it opens up with a nice bang. Obviously, that will be in the hands of Fuchs-Chi. That Rengar hover was too long to not be like wanted, but I do very much like the Shyvana. I think it does work very well in this this situation where, you know, you want to have that nice stable frontline, basically frontline eliminator is what your Shyvana's going to be doing here. Making sure that Xin Zhao cannot really get anywhere. If ever he goes anywhere, there's a dragon suddenly. And last I checked, Spear does not beat dragon in my favourite rock, paper, scissors clone.
You know what? There's a lot of fantasy movies out there that would argue that point. There's a lot of spears in Dead Dragons that I've seen. Maybe played one too many games, but it's like a magical spear, right? And does Zinzao have a magical spear, right? Is it a magical spear, or is it just like a Demacian?
In fact, Xin Zhao is canonically dead. So, I don't know how that... And also, Sion is canonically dead, so... Wait, hang on, and Victor's canonically dead. -1 have just picked corpses. That's how they're going to win. They can't die if they're already dead. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first case of brain melting. As I feel like I'm going insane. I think it's all
about the Jhin show. I think what they're doing here is it's about the Jhin. Jhin, for the lack of a better description, is a bit of a narcissist, and he wants the show to be about himself. So if everybody is dead, then it might as well just be about him, right? He's gonna be able to probably be, you know, at least at the back of Fuchs-Chi's minds, because as we saw from the back of last game, it was an amazing Jhin game for -1. So Fuchs-Chi this time round needs to be a little bit more proactive down in that bot lane. Again, another Ezreal. This time around, the only change down there is the Seraphine.
Yeah, I mean, -1 essentially do have the same comp as game 1. They have weak side top laner, AD engaged jungler, and then Victor Jhin Karma. They have the same composition. Fuse have created a little bit of variation with that Seraphine in the bot lane in replacement of the Morgana. Now, Shorty, historically, has been an incredible Seraphine. Probably his best champ. He'll say the Ornn is his best champ. No, it's not.
It was locked in. Maybe it's actually Seraphine top lane and the Ornn's going
guys,
bot lane,
it's great. Guys, in Korea, it's like 400% win rate. Or I don't want to stress anybody out. It could be Shyvana top, Ornn jungle.
That was meta a few months back, and I think I saw an Ornn somewhere in the last few weeks. Not me, actually. I remember somebody else told me about it, and it didn't really go their way, what I've been told. But, you know, you've got that value from at least once you get that level 6 Call of the Forge God is an amazing ganking tool. That's why the Ornn is so strong in those flanks as well. Now, the delivery on this Orianna, the shockwave delivery is the crucial factor of what Fuse has now drafted themselves for into game 2. However, of course, in any Orianna team comp, you're expecting for that to come your way. Oriannas are usually the first few picks anyhow. It's the biggest blind picks there is. So you're going to be drafting accordingly into it. But I don't see that from the side of MinusOne. Aside from how can you deal with a bully but to become one yourself, right? So they're going to be the ones to go in instead. You've got the Karma, you've got the Victor, you've got the Jhin. Very immobile. So that Shockwave will certainly be having a much easier time to be able to find something, especially with the Dragon's Descent for the Shyvana, and the value it gives you as well. You can enter from a terrain position, right? Fog of War for the Dragon's Descent is a very good shock value.
Yeah, and Yoon, just on the topic of these mid lane picks, we are obviously seeing Orianna be the kind of quintessential blind pick, but obviously, in your experience, you were kind of forced onto blind pick duty while you were on this -1 squad. Now that mid laners are becoming a little bit more prioritized, do you think that you're going to get a chance to pull out some of your... Obviously, do not spoil them. Don't you dare spoil them. But do you think you're going to get a bigger chance to be able to pull out some of your kind of wild card picks?
Who's to say I haven't already in scrims? Who's to say? But I do think there's a lot of picks that are underrated that you can do at the moment. This matchup between Orianna and Victor, again, Victor has the range, even though Orianna is that safe blind, and it is probably a better matchup into the Victor than the Cassio, in my opinion. Still not a great matchup to have to play. I do feel for Barney here. But yeah, watch our games for Team Swarm Peak, and I will play throwing a dart at dartboard blindfolded, and we get what we get.
And do you want to know what's annoying? I can't watch your game. The game where I could probably have the most hype reactions to the picks in the draft. Because let's be honest, this game too, the Shyvana is the only real pick where I'm kind of like, I'm actually kind of interested. Obviously, it's mostly because we've seen it. In reality, I must have seen this form of draft about close to 100 times now.
Yeah.
I'd like a little bit,
you know.
I would like a little bit of variation.
That's the trouble, right? With something that is the format in the series, it's a 2-game series. You don't have that fearless value going into it, so you can recycle those picks to your best strengths. And right now, we're going to have to see as to where the picks that haven't really come through yet, the Shyvana and the Seraphine, again, the most exciting for me as well, where they're going to be coming through off the back of this first game. We are getting into the second and final game of the series here, where Fuse is down a point. They can think about a draw. It's not the best case scenarios, but it's something that they can certainly now pivot to.
We do see some early trading across the map here. It's going to be MinusOne who instigate this brawling.
I do think the bot lane matchup is a bit better and a bit easier to play than last game. I think Seraphine's a lot more lane dominant than the Morgana. That should make laning a bit easier for them.
It might just. Barney's been very aggressive on the Cassiopeia last game onto the Victor. So, like you've mentioned, it might just be the same exact thing. Yoon coming, Teddy's way. But is it going to result in another very good positioning for Teddy where he can't get ganked despite him not having a flash? Is Jetopath going to be able to out-gank something like a Xin Zhao? Xin Zhao has so much more value in the early parts of the game due to the gap closer that he's got himself enabled at level 3, really, as a bit of a heavier trade again coming our way from the two goats in the mid lane, both Ted and Barney. Quite an equal one, however. Even the minions agree of how equal and even that will go. Bot side, again, who do we think is going to get the best of one another there?
I think now we actually are seeing an extended trade in top lane there go down. As, what we thought might be the quietest of the lanes has so far ended up being the bloodiest. The two tanks seem to be going at it much more aggressively. Now, actually, to kind of harper on that top lane matchup, we are seeing what I think is opposite items for these champions. Obviously, Doran's shield for the Ornn and Doran's helm for the Scion. I once again think that the Doran's helm is a little bit overrated on the Scion. I do think that you get a little bit more value out of the Doran's shield. Dognappy will be taking a decent chunk of damage and not going to be able to escape the decimating smash there as Chocolate. But I'm not a massive fan of the Doran's helm so far. It's not really been proved.
Ted, he does get the level 4, which is a good level up for him. Flash in, gets the laser, gets the first blood. That's Teddy for you. On that Victor, this time round goes his way, as Mimic does have an audacious charge. Nice free talent struck onto Jetopath. He's going to have to flash away, but there was a flash waiting from Mimic. He might just use
lightning.
It, as he will with the wind becomes lightning. Audacious charge. That's 2 quick pickups. Shorty walking right into Mimic where he was a moment ago, but Swag and Danny are gonna be there just to back him up.
So, interesting there from Shorty. I think the play is to get Barney involved as well, and if Mimic ends up overcommitting, then it's a nice, easy cleanup for Barney. But he just ends up kind of trading away his health bar for not all too much in return. Ends up being a kill going the way of Mimic onto Jetopath there, and that also means that Jetopath's going to have to live his life without any kind of buffs for the time being. It's going to head towards that topside scuttle. Mimic, not yet posturing to try and steal it. So, overall, it's a very winning engagement here for -1.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised there. Yeah.
It is surprising. In your opinion, Yoon, would you say that the Victor at this point in the game is going to be obviously having a bit of a less strugglesome lane now that he's been able to pick up that kill, or is the flash going to bite him a little bit more than it should?
I think time will tell. Shyvana's not quite as good a ganking jungler like you raised earlier as Xin Zhao is, so I'm not sure how much pressure you can get onto the flashless Victor, but I think this kill works really nicely for him just to kind of coast through the lane and scale up into the monster that he is. I think Barney took a really good trade into the Victor, just maybe he's had blood in his eyes, he saw the kill coming. If he was a little more patient, maybe he could force Victor into a bad base and crash the wave instead.
Ted doesn't have that flash. He does get the level 6.
Oh, he played for the level 6!
So close.
Okay.
I actually really appreciated that until Barney got his own level 6 advantage. That was pretty much a feeding his own medicine scenario. As now in the bot lane, Rob back is getting a decent trade onto the Karma, but Swag has now arrived. He's able to get 1, 2, there's that third, and not quite connecting onto it, but it won't matter as the Swag kill comes around eventually, and this might just be a repeat of what we've seen before.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Teddy is going to be shown that one in the VOD review at some point, because overconfidence could be your downfall. But so far, Teddy is actually going to be on the side of scrutiny once again. Does manage to get a double stun on Jetopath and Barney. Is he going to be able to get out? He will indeed. So, but -1, they need to be careful. They haven't yet won this game, and they're playing very overconfidently.
They are. It's like they're moving with that tempo that they had in the last game, largely due to the fact that they have a very similar team comp. So they're probably confusing themselves right now, thinking, right, this Jin does not have 10 kills on board. He's not 6,000 gold ahead. He's 300 gold ahead. And that's something that is yet to obviously be increased as we speak within this game. But obviously off the back of the last kill, it's certainly going towards the right direction. And because you were able to grab that kill, you may have some sort of priority down in the bot lane, but I don't think neither of these junglers right now are thinking about the dragon, despite it being up for about 1.5 minutes right now. There is a situation happening where the Raptors will be just taken up by Mimic, just a bit of counter jungling from himself to deny some of that XP, some of that gold from Jetopuff as we speak. The dragon is certainly up, so he's closer to that objective than Mimic is, bot side, as we should expect, quite aggressive going into one another, constantly trading.
Yeah, now, a little bit of slowdown on my perspective, but I'm guessing that's just Discord being Discord. As
Curtain call.
Curtain call. Robak's going to have to block these here for surely.
Ooh, the last time we seen a level 6 curtain call from Swag, it did get that kill, not this time around. And this time around, there's going to be a 4-man gang. Dragon's Descent right onto Danny, who doesn't have a flash. It really is just a matter of who's going to get that kill. It's going to go over to Jetopuff, which I really like. It's going to give it that a little bit of that extra value for that shockwave delivery. Jetopuff will have some sort of survivability before he's thinking about anything else in those engages. So that's going to be a nice punish going on to -1's bot lane this time around.
Yeah, it's kind of the inverse of what was happening before. We are going to see a nice little mock-up come through.
$240 gold is all that this Victor is going to be thankful for because of how nice of a turnaround Barney had eventually with that level 6 prio, which really belonged to Teddy, but it just came down to not having enough of those HP points to back himself up. But that's now behind us because both of their flashes are now back on. Both Barney, Ted, they do have something to play for, or at least to get away from a gank coming their way. Speaking of the devil, however, this is a karma. Teva does connect. Quite confidently, Barney will be staying around in that long brush because the rest of the team has, in fact, arrived. That's a good arcane storm. Flashing away, Barney doesn't have it now. Nice shockwave. Is it going to be enough? Gravity storm. Gravity field, rather, is going to get that damage and the stun off. Jetopuff flashing away. However, Mimic does have the wind becomes lightning. Not enough to follow through with that kill. Nobody will be going down in that exchange.
It's heartbreak there for Mimic. So many low health bars. He's just itching to snatch one of them up. But Jetopuff, he must have been on about 5 HP leaving that engagement, as Dognappy is going to be under a lot of pressure from Chocolate, but that mana pool is depleted, so it's going to be a manaless Ornn against a Scion with ult and flash
this
available.
This is the gameplay I like to see. I love watching the no mana tanks get grass procs on each other. Beautiful.
Should I just keep the camera on top lane at this point? A lot of the action has been coming from the top side, I will say. Like, these guys are going at each other's throats. I feel like this is a little bit personal for Chocolate. He's obviously had that Ambessa game where he grabbed his first ever solo kill, or kill alone, at 21 minutes into the game, into an Ornn. So that right there, that was a brewing kill that he still wants to get.
Right now, game does feel quite even, but it is gold leads all around for -1. However, no items on that Jhin, and he's going for the collector this game. He is not far enough ahead for him to warrant going the Stormraiser. So this is a massive difference. This is a massive advantage here. If you see Bellows Breath going to deny the decimating smash there from Dognappy. So let's welcome to another episode of We Are Stacking Grasp on our tanks. Look at this. Oh, this is peak gameplay right here. Oh my goodness, we're going to get one from Dognappy and responded with one from Chocolate. That's another one coming in for Dognappy. Oh my goodness gracious me. There is actually going to be a fight on the bot side here. Teddy's going to be caught out by a double shockwave there. Mimic's going to be able to land the Wind Becomes Lightning. No audacious charge onto that Orianna. Now knock up Jetopuff. Drops low. Ooh. Wind Becomes Lightning misses the Shyvana, but it will be enough. Audacious charge just coming off a cooldown now for Mimic. No flash, so we will not be able to close that gap to the Orianna. Cody comes through, though, but no real mana items. As we go back to another episode of stacking Grasp in the top lane. Forget whatever's happening in bot.
Going to end up in a kill, unfortunately for us and everybody else at home in the jungle. However, that's going to be an encore. Flashed away from by Mimic. Very good reaction. Time Blast Cone will be sending Shorty into safety. But at what point is this safety going to be coming really around to bite them? Because they are still not really on the right side of the map. Flashing over. But the root does connect. Curtain Cole coming through. Jettopuff is full HP. Doesn't have the Dragon's Descent. Mimic doesn't have his flash. He will be the first target of this engage as a shutdown. Cole of the Forge God, there is Chocolate flashing into that second proc. Won't be having swag. An escape coming his way as a few more kills off the back of that will be picked up by Fuse Chi.
It's the first solid win.
Flash. That was a very chud flash from Rowan. We love to see it. He's known for it. I'm happy he's consistent.
You know what I think he thought? Maybe he thought that, he's been playing Jhin for 2 games in a row. Maybe his brain is a little bit scrambled now. He's been playing into an Ezreal for 2 games in a row as well. He probably wanted to flash and then arcane shift over that wall and then realized, actually, he's playing the Jhin. So that's never going to get him into any position that he would like to be in. But off the back of that, the consequence and the biggest one will be, of course, those summoner spells. However, many people actually used it. You've got Robak, you've got Swag, Karma, Danny, as well as Shorty without those flashes, and the dragon is up. The only ones really up now is going to be Ted, who's got it available, and Mimic. So a very good priority, some sort of advantage. Dragon's Descent, the Shockwave maybe fishing. The Smite doesn't really get its value, but in the end it still gets secured. A Swag is already taken out. Arcane Storm will be now going on to Shorty, but in the back line, Orianna's already been removed, and Ted is flashing in to get that kill value. He's actually holding on to his flash. He's going to go get out of the Mystic Shot as well. Only Shyvana stays alive, but a double kill for Ted off the back of that play.
-1, come back fighting. They maintain that gold lead as we do come back to our favourite TV show, Stacking Grasp with tanks in top lane. And now, Dog Nappy's going to be able to stack another one there. Oh my goodness, another one for Chocolate. Oh my Christ, this is an excellent episode. Bro, if David Attenborough wishes he did this.
Yeah, when you're watching a game and you're like, when you hear the casters all of a sudden starting to raise their voices, and everybody on the screen just then doing whatever they were doing, just talking to their friend, just sipping on their coffee, and then you right there, Tinker, just raising your voice. Great, another topside play. Lovely. I'll hand this one over to you, brother.
All right, back again with another episode of Top Lane Stacking Grasp. It's going to be Dog Nappy absolutely teasing Chocolate here. It's going to miss the Decimating Smash. Oh my goodness, this is, oh my god, here we go, come on, oh, they're edging the stack.
Honestly,
what?
Back in with the unstoppable Dog Nappy does eventually get the finale to episode 5 going his way.
Downside of this,
CS lead as well in the Sion Ornn matchup. Sorry to cut you off there, Tinser, but I just want to pay attention to the fact he's 45 CS up roughly. That's pretty impressive in the 1v1.
Ooh.
Okay, but yeah, positive for Chocolate, Dog Nappy can't stack Grasp anymore. But it might actually be Barney on the wrong side of stacking. Oh, that's a curtain call.
Barney with that swift movement right there. Nice little sidestep back and forth. Now, the remainder has arrived. Jettopuff with the Dragon's Descent just onto Danny. A lot of damage has been hit. That's going to be a Crescent Guard denying a lot of that encore value. However, now having to flash away because you've got the Decimating Smash. Does get the knock up with the Soul Furnace to finish it off. A good Shockwave onto Ted. Is it going to be enough damage with the Chocolate coming around? Yes, it will be. However, now he's eaten a root. Decimating Smash and a final auto attack from the Karma to finish that job, flashing right in with the audacious charge. One target, Jettopuff onto the next, which will be Robak. Not before Swag picks himself up the second kill of the game as well.
And that just goes to show that's the Avengers endgame of the Grasp stacking universe. It's where all these members, it's an ARAM It's an ARAM at 15 minutes, guys. My goodness, I was expecting entertainment. I knew we had the exact same draft and I said, let's not make it boring, but you didn't have to do all this. -1 do end up coming out heavily on top as it's now a 5.1k gold lead, but most of that is in the pocket of the Scion, which I'm not sure the value of which that's going to provide the rest of the team.
Big value, 5,000 gold. Yoon, this time around, I'll throw the same question at you that you had last time. What do you think is the best value out of? Yeah, it's looking strong, however, for -1.
I think this game is in a better spot at this same gold discrepancy than last game, if that makes sense. I think that Fuse2 have a better setup to be able to come back into this game. We have seen the Shyvana engage with the Oriana ball actually get a lot of value onto the squishier members like the Jhin, the Karma. I feel a lot more confident in the fact this game isn't just running away from them. It's difficult, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, and I think the best thing in the worst case scenario for themselves is that the biggest gold lead really is on this Scion. And, you know, if it was something like an Ambessa that was 2,000 gold behind, then I'd argue, you know, the complete opposite of that. But it is an Ornn. He's going to have some sort of, you know, good value coming into the late game, the ornaments 1, 2, his entire positioning, his beefy frontline sort of idea behind the champ is going to be very valuable. And as we speak, a lot of positioning around the river, because we do have 20 seconds around for the next objective, and that's going to be the dragon.
Yeah, I do definitely think this is -1 favourite because they are going to already be taking a very, very forward stance. That's going to be shortly caught out there by the Deadly Flourish, and it's not going to be able. No encore for you. Your show stops now. Curtain call will be used. Barney is going to be in a very deep position here, caught out by Cody and Mimic as well. That's going to be Cody getting that kill, but Swag might be on the wrong side of it. No, he will not. Jettopuff's going to be the one to fall, as once again we've got an ARAM indeed. Chocolate is going to be the next one to be taken down. Is he going to drop very low, but this Ornn is still quite tanky. And Cody picked up 3 kills. Okay, my support has more kills than my ADC. All right, well,
like, you know what? Yeah, Danny just didn't feel right having to see all of those kills that the Jhin got in the last game. He was like, listen, Swag, you had your moment. The spotlight is on me in this game, and he's definitely having a decent game on the Karma, so to say. But that team fight right there from Fuse2, when you miss out on your positioning from Shorty and then you get punished for it, and then you're in a 4v5, you can't afford to then do the exact same thing again on Barney. That's the last thing you need happening, because all of a sudden then Barney gets caught out. We're having a completely split fights on 2 opposite ways of that terrain, where Jettopuff is trying to do something, but again, in a free 4v5, it's not gonna go their way. However, this I like. It may be enough to perhaps punish somebody. A few of those mystic shots will be connecting, but if you stick around for a little bit too long, you're going to get Dog Nappy coming around. That's a tether connecting. Decimating Splash does get his value as well. 4th shot from Swag, and he might just chase down another to get the double kill. And that right there is 20 seconds before the Baron, and I'm pretty sure we might get a repeat of game 1.
Yeah, it's very over-aggressive there from Robak as he gets fully caught out. Didn't realise that the flash would not get him outside of that Karma's tether. Ends up getting rooted and completely decimated by a Jhin 4th shot. Meets his demise. He will be respawning in 10 seconds, but this Baron is up, and this Baron will be started by -1. Look at Shorty, look at Barney, and you will see Robak in a second charging straight towards this top side. Chocolate is currently farming on that bot. He does not have TP, so he will not be involved in this if there is a fight. Now, Jettopuff, let's see what you can do. Ult's at the ready. Flash is ready too. Can he get into this pit? Can he potentially save Fuse2 with the Baron steal? It's going to be going in. It's going to be dropping low. He's focused entirely. He's going to be able to steal the Baron, but he is going to trade his life for it. But Fuse2, they got their out. The members of -1 too focused on that Shyvana. And now the Baron is in their hands. This is their chance to really close this gold gap. We can already see.
Absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. It buys them so much time to stall the game and try and get those ornaments online.
Potentially
It is.
too
And Jetopuff
eager.
is no stranger to stealing objectives, by the way. With his smites, he's done it so many times in Spring Split last time around on Div 2 UKEL. And he is staying true to his name right now in this game where, like you said, Yoon, where it matters the most. Because now that's going to buy about, 3 minutes or so. That's something. Barney, a little bit too deep onto the side lane as an Oriana. He won't really get out of this one. He thought he might, but there is, in fact, Danny bracking his way into this dump, and he will be able to get that kill for none other but Mimic. And that's going to be one kill down for a few seconds or so. 30 seconds is quite a substantial amount of time, really, at this point in the game. 21 minutes as we speak. Unstoppable onslaught from Dog Nappy. This really acts as a way to cut out the escape and stall down the resets, because there's a top lane push still coming our way. Dog Nappy having to flash away from the Call of the Forge God. However, this is still a Scion who is wasting a lot of time, and so much more of those plates will be coming Ted's way.
Now, despite the Baron going the way of Fuse Chi, it's kind of just flipping the sand timer over for a little bit, because -1 are still very much in the driver's seat on this. Although I do think we do see this situation so often where a team is so focused on taking the Baron as it spawns, and then when the enemy jungler comes in, they haven't realized that the Baron's dropped to the HP that is in smite range. So I could probably... I can't count the number of times that I've seen that be the situation. And Jetopath takes massive advantage from it. So now, Fuse Chi do have a little bit of a lifeline.
How long is that lifeline going to be held onto, though, right? Because at some point, the waters are going to get too deep for you to continuously swim into. You're going to drown at some point in this one. Dog Nappy is not the target you want to be engaging on. That's a nice route coming through. Mimic does have a GA as well, so he can keep on going. On core, does get a nice way of charming his way through. Having to flash over. The flash doesn't connect from Mimic, but he still have the wind becomes lightning, and now Danny comes around the corner. Nice route onto none other but Barobak, who gets the true shot barrage. But at what point is it really going to matter? That's going to be a kill where only one more remains, and that's on, because Barney's still up in that top side, still trying to get that top side tower. A big shutdown on that gold value, sure, but you're facing a 5-man push in the mid lane.
Now, can -1, these timers are not that long. Can they use this to try and get their way through? That's going to be the Call of the Forge God used just to try and stall out for a little bit, and it will buy them time. -1, though. They are pulling this game astray. We were expecting -1 to be good, but I don't think anyone would have expected this kind of gameplay from them. It will not be a Dragon Soul, but it will be Soul Point for them. That is actually one thing that I do think -1 haven't been able to fully complete, that dragon stacking that they have been so sort of keen on, especially during the closing games of Division 2 Spring. Not quite been able to match that brilliance, but Dog Nappy is getting attacked by fleas, it looks like.
Yeah, he just get to walk away. I will say, I've just realized that the actual overlay here, -1, is showing as an 11-7 run in this split. Clearly, that's not the case, and clearly, Jetopath committed onto that Scuttle Crab will probably be his last decision, and 40-second death time might just as well be, because Robak is now being initiated on, and that is a consequence off the back of being a little bit too far forward, where, one, you don't have a whole mid lane. Super minions are charging in, and two, you have 10,000 gold to catch up on. Unstoppable onslaught just to get the value out of that charge. No minions, however, and on core won't be connecting onto nobody. Swag is very much so.
I don't like this much.
Crescent guard by Mimic. Danny is Dog Nappy is taking the brunt of that damage, but he goes zombie mode. And we've spoken about the value of the lore dead champions in this game, but the only one that's accurately dead within the draft itself will be going down, and the rest will stand strong.
I'm not a massive fan of this overcommitment from -1. Yes, they do end up getting that inhibitor in mid lane, but there's still a tier 2 in bot. There's still that sitting gold on the map. I believe it still has 5 plates on it as well. So not getting that kind of extra, kind of that, not free money bag, but I know Yoon is definitely a fan of taking as many of these outer turrets as possible to make sure that you have the best wallet diff possible.
Love me a side lane plate.
I'm not a massive fan of this from -1 because this is buying Fuse Chi time. This is buying the ornaments for Fuse Chi. And right now, yes, the fight was a little bit messy, but in the end, it resulted in a kill for Dogmanappy. And now Swag might potentially be caught out here. Jetterpuff's going to be able to go all in. True Shot Barrage will not be able to connect. There's going to be a double route onto Jetterpuff. Here comes the unstoppable one-stop drive right past. He's not stopping at this pit lane, but he's definitely going into the drive-through. Goes all the way onto Barney, having to flash away from the decimating smash. And now it's going to be the chase for -1. But it looks more like a Baron. Jetterpuff is down, so they do not have to worry about trying to outsmite a 17-year-old this time.
And they're not on the same page. They're not on the same page with these engages. I will say it's constantly it's like you find an opportunity and then you act upon it straight away, and not everybody has the time to catch up on that same idea. This is still an Orianna, this is still a Seraphine that have to come closer and get the full value of what your team comp really provides, and the delivery behind a Shockwave is a must. But it's gonna be another Baron, it's gonna be another objective for -1 esports, who are constantly on the ball right now. The first Baron for themselves, however, in this game, as the previous one was stolen due to the fact that Jettopuff was not able to survive that mid lane engage. He was not around to do it again, and neither is Robak around to really stop this shove into the top side, I will say. So this is another 5-man push, this time round with many minions to back yourself up with.
I would not be confident if I was Fuse Chi in this situation. This is an absolute bulldozer of a roster -1. Their only hope now is if they can catch one member slightly off and then potentially win that 5 versus 4. But right now, I'd be shivering my timbers if I was this -1, this Fuse Chi roster.
It's scary, man. It's so terrifying. But again, Yoon, for instance, you've spoken about these ornaments, and they are now coming around. There's 4 of them in this game. Does it give any real value?
I would say if the gold
That's going to be a engage, and I will have to pause that forward because Ted is now being engaged on it. Probably the best one as we speak. Ted is still alive, not until the auto attack does connect. There's not many members around from the side of -1 because they're still trying to join this team fight. Mimic is now approaching. Curtain Call as well. Chocolate being engaged, not having to flash away from the Curtain Call. Third shot, flashing in, Crescent Guard. All of a sudden now we see Barney trying to grasp for life, and a nice decimating smash. Jettopuff still alive, does get the GA, but he doesn't have one of his own, really, so we will see Mimic going right back in. Audacious charge. Barney on the back foot. Chocolate having to flash away, but he does get knocked up. Not really much else will follow through off the back of that. It's instead gonna be a 1 fight. Even despite such a great start for Fuse Chi, -1 can now turn it around for the Dragon.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for potentially finishing the game here. I don't know if Fuse Chi could actually stop a full bulldoze. We are going to see the TP coming through for Barney here. Redemption does go down, and that's Chocolate in the backline. Mimic has to claim this Drake up now, and it will be done so. Shockwave manages to land on Steady, but it's not going to be able to claim the kill. Barney goes down. That's the Orianna gone. Shoddy's going to be gone by a second force shot from Swag. Rubik has not got it left in him. Chocolate, the last standing member in this fight, as it's just Jettopuff laying in wait in the base. It's going to be a nice pick up as Cody manages to steal that kill at the end, who ends up with more kills than Teddy in this game. But my goodness gracious me, -1. This game started out a lot closer, but it definitely did not finish close. Jettopuff having to use that Dragon's Ascent just to try and disengage us. We're not, guys, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again.
Yes,
guys.
The smithing smash is used in the wrong direction, and that's actually going to cause for 2 of them to go down. At least the KDA is going to go back up before Jettopuff off the back of this game, because what we saw was a very, very good execution from -1 once again in game 2. We've seen a 2-0 a few times today, and we're just witnessing another.
Well, I have never been more glad to be wrong, because I actually, on my other monitor, and hand to the sky, I wrote, I bet -1 2-0 because I said FuseG would 2-0 them.
Wait, you did?
So
Wow.
I said, when I said that FuseG would 2-0, I then typed on a Word document on my left-hand monitor. Under all of my predictions for the rest of the teams, I typed -1 will now 2-0. I manifested this. I didn't manifest this at all. But you know what?
You can apologize to the FuseG team. I think you invoke the powers of the gods, the spirits, much more powerful than us.
You've cast a curse, is what you've done.
Yeah, well,
it's
you know...
true, the curse is real.
The curse is indeed real. But we did get to see some very nice gameplay from both teams. I will be needing to close out relatively quickly, just due to the ending time of things. But Domain, it's been an absolute pleasure to be casting with you today. Yoon, as always, loved having you here, loved having your insight. Not going to be able to have you around every single time because you might be playing.
I'll be on the Rift. I'll be the person making the mistakes that I point out when I'm not on the Rift. But it was a pleasure. Thank you both for having me very much.
Thank you for
I
being
really
here,
appreciate what you do for the scene, what you do for the community. It's really fantastic.
Really nice having you on. Nice to officially meet you as well, because I've not had the pleasure to cast with you guys before, and so it's been a good one. And again, in the first ever trio cast for me, so that's something that's new. Nice.
I've had trio co-streams with just a bunch of with Yoon. Wait, hang on. Who was it? It was Yoon. Swag was there. Joe was there. It was a 4-man. It was a 4-man, and it was the most unserious thing in the world.
I don't think you can even get a single word in, let alone trying to collect your thoughts. But yeah, no, again, I appreciate you guys smashed it. This whole split will be nothing but new revelations, new ways of approaching things, I hope. That was an amazing game from -1, so really congratulations to the roster for having such an amazing start into the entire Div 1 summer split, and that's where we're going to end it as well. So thank you, Yoon. Thank you, Tinker. Such an amazing time casting with you guys. Thank you so much to everybody for watching tonight. It's been a pleasure off the back of the Gucci and the FuseG games. This is going to be the last few minutes, so I've had an amazing time. This domain is now offline, and take care, everybody. Good night. That's the wrong scene. There we go.
Yo, that's sick. That's sick. Thank you for having us.
Smashed it.
I'm still going. Mine's still going, by the way. Mine's still going, by the way. I haven't signed off mine. Okay. Well. Okay. Well. Whoa. This is going off in the background. Anyway, I've muted it now, so you can't be heard. But I can very much hear it, so I'm going to mute it because that's very distracting, but it's very cool. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for sticking around. I've been T1NCR, Tinker for short, with Domain Casts, and of course, Tablespoon Yoon. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.